Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have you company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Welcome to the start of the run to the checkered flag, the final 5 weeks of Term 4 of 2023 season 15 for the club. Night 1 takes us to the Circuit Park Zandvoort for the entree to the main course. This is, of course, the latest round of Player 1 Sim Gear V8s Super 3. And, of course, Super 2 will be back on the service, on the screens of the GSRC next week. Of course, we'll bring you the results from that race a little bit later on. The tight technical Netherlands circuit playing host to this round of the championship 25-minute sprint race. Zach Capen, Liam Banks and Adam Lavis with you as per usual. And we can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Greg Brooks has got provisional pole here ahead of Bradley Curtin, Aidan Schultz. We'll get to the full grid in just a moment. 55% humidity. 4.21 kilometre course. Have no hope in hell, ladies and gentlemen, of telling you the info on the screen at the moment. Comments are in the right. But we'll get to that in just a moment with regards to the time of the server and everything else that you need to know regarding what's ahead here throughout the course of the evening. But Banksy, good evening to you. We'll get to the points in just a moment. The tight and technical Netherlands circuit will provide quite a challenge tonight, to the point where some people have opted to use this as drop ground.
Yeah, it certainly will. It's not the type of track you imagine when you think of the supercars, but as we've seen throughout this season, no matter what track they're on, they always seem to provide fantastic racing, and I'm sure tonight will be no different, even if it is one of the most challenging tracks they're likely to face during this 10-week season.
Absolutely. There are the championship points for you. Bradley Curtin on top, 188, 174 for Aaron Bryan, Aidan Schultz 159, and Greg Spencer 148, 129 for Lachlan Hewitt making up the top 5 there right now. And then Fraser, Roffey, Taylor, Scholar and Brooks making up the top 10. The grid looks like this. Now the comments have disappeared. There's the clock for you, 14:45. So 2:45 local time, which at this time of the year, we're now 10 hours, I believe, ahead of Central Europe. So we're sitting, we'd be sitting here just before 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time if everything was lining up to the sim time in the real world, but thankfully that isn't the case, especially after the day I've had. The humidity is there at 55%. The track temperature of a very warm, is that 38 degrees? I can't quite read that, Adam Lavis. And 18 degrees the ambient, so a distinct difference between the ambient and the track temperature. Greg Brooks, Bradley Curtin the front row, Aidan Schultz, Justin Butcher the second row, Blake Fitzpatrick and Michael Fraser the third row, Brendan Griffiths and Mark Foster the fourth, Aaron Bryan and Jason Scholar from the fifth row make up the top 10. Jared Gilbert and Grant Gill the sixth row, Greg Spencer and also Sean Van Der. And there is another name on that, Sean Van der Meulen, there we go. And Dale Jeffries, Joe Trucker Baldwin makes up the eighth row, Adam Johnson, Matthew Beale, Pete Matson and Dimitri Kolbach make up the top 20. Matthew George, Nigel Patton, Justin Cotter, Marty Mitchell and Eduardo Zamora take us back to 25th. And beyond that, we have Phil Butler yet to join the grid. Philip Powers out there and, of course, Jamie Budds in race control. Ready to rock and roll. Apologies if the voice box sounds a little bit rusty on the back of the Hyundai XL Nationals over on the other side of the Nullarbor. More on that as we get going.
Also, just heads up, Jared Gilbert's staying pit lane because he had a rear grid penalty from last week, so he's in the pit lane for that.
Correct. So a solid long night at the office ahead for him, because overtaking around here isn't the easiest thing to achieve. And of course, you've already starting with an invoice against you. And a drop for a splash and dash into pit lane still to come as well. Set the rock and roll. Round 6. 5 down, 5 to go on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Player 1 Sim Gear Super 3. Let's get it on in the Netherlands. Green wide. There won't be much of that tonight, because this track tightens up significantly as you get down towards turn 1. Let's hope they can get through here unscathed. It's a tight squeeze. The scramble through, and thankfully unscathed. Not everybody's cup of tea, this venue. It is one of the new ones on the server. Going back a while, of course. Car on the wall on the exit and pirouetting, and unfortunately a couple of cars balked up.
Yeah, that's Aaron Bryan and Sean Van der Meulen caught up in those two separate incidents. I'm sure we'll get another look at that a bit later on. At the front, it's Greg Brooks leading Bradley Curtin. No change in the top four. Below them, a couple of big movers. The biggest mover, Joe Baldwin, who's up 7 spots already in the space of half a lap. So that's a phenomenal start. And there have been a few falling down the field. Even without incidents, there were a couple falling down the field, like Michael Fraser, who's down six positions. You saw him at the start, just getting a poor start and just getting bogged down, and everybody swarming him. Once you get out of something like that, very hard to recover and stop losing places. You just sort of gotta let the flow go around you and rejoin as soon as you can. I think that would have been around turn 2 round here. As you can see, they're about to hit the famous corner that was reprofiled for the Formula 1. Zandvoort, the final corner, which was added banking to allow the drivers to take it closer to full throttle and make turn 1 into an overtake opportunity. It didn't really quite work, but it is absolutely spectacular.
Indeed it is. Down the main straight we go. So, despite all the shambolic action happening on the exit of turn 4 in the opening lap, we remain green here at Circuit Park Zandvoort. It was interesting too because, as I said, we got a couple of cars booked, checked up, and a couple taking evasive action and becoming sacrificial lamb in all of that because the slightest unsettling of the car brings them unstuck. That's why you saw cars in the wall, cars in the grass. But thankfully, only one of those made it down into pit lane. That was Aaron Bryan. Jared Gilbert, having started from pit lane, has already moved himself up into 19th place.
And you can see already, Joe's using his experience from the Formula V race, taking the high line and getting the slingshot through the banking in turn 4.
I must admit, what a pleasure it was to make the great man's acquaintance in the flesh yesterday at Wanneroo. And he made the trip up. It's about 3 hours from Bunbury to come and check out the action from the Hyundai XL Nationals. Stuck around to watch one of the races. Enjoyed the view from Central Commentary, and I'm sure he'll tell us all about it a little bit later on. But no, nice to see Joe Baldwin. Also, Brock Kelly, thanks for him coming out to say hello at carco.com.au raceway on Saturday as well. Just a replay of everything that happened there at the start on lap 1, turn 4 in the exit. And tap, a smash, a nudge, and gone.
Strange behaviour from the car in the wall there, just to finish my race and anything else. That Shane Van der Meulen getting on the power too heavily as he exits the hairpin, and that sent him careening to the car on the inside. Thankfully, he's the one that's ended up on the grass rather than the car he collected, who was able to continue on unharmed, but still a shame for him. It's such an easy mistake to make. You want to get on the throttle, you're nervous about the car on the inside, and you get a bit greedy. And that's Adam Johnson just going straight into the back, breaking points all wrong, and gets relatively away with it gets away with it better than the car he hit. He was there on the gravel, and does a clever thing, lets him get out in front of him, and now keep racing.
We didn't see that live, and it surprised me just how quickly and similarly the incidents were unfolding before us. I mean, 1 in the wall, 2 in the wall, 3 in the wall, 4 in the dirt at turn 1. And if it was anything like the dirt at Barbagallo on the weekend, or Wanneroo, or carco.com.au raceway as it is now known, I can't call it Barbagallo anymore, it got whacked over for that. But the reality of the situation is, if the gravel traps were anything like what they were in the West over the weekend, there was no way they were getting out of there, and they would have been parked up for the night. Off-track alert there for Philip Howe. Sean Van der Meulen is the beneficiary of that. He moves up into position number 22. Aaron Bryan back out on the racetrack. Marty Mitchell, Dale Jeffries on pit road at the moment. Interesting to see how long we go before we reach that critical lap where we can pit and get to the checkered flag.
Had some inside information from some of the boys practicing. They reckon it's going to be around 19 minutes.
Copy that. Which, at a minute 35 or a minute 36 a lap. Oh, okay. Challenge accepted. That'll be about 5 laps every 8 minutes. So 2 5s to 10 and 2 8s to 16. So you're looking at 12 laps.
What does mean is anybody stuck in traffic, next time they come around, will be able to pit and make it to the end. So that's important to know.
Whoa! Joe Baldwin getting a little bit argy-bargy there. He got locked up, checked up, and there was nowhere to go. He couldn't pull it up. Crossed up, and unfortunately he ended up using the car directly behind him there, Jason Scholar, as a buffer. Otherwise, it was a date with the outside of the circuit and potentially the wall there, Liam.
Yeah, it was the old PS2 maneuver, wasn't it? I'm sure we've all done it with our friends. They're a bit ahead of you. You realise you're not going to get them, so you just lean on them a little bit to help you slow the car down. Bit of an orthodox braking technique. I did think that the smart thing to do would be to let Jason Sculler just let him back past and then try and get him again, because I don't know how the stewards are going to see that, but my betting would be, given the pace that he hit him with, not pleasantly. So we'll have to wait to see if we hear anything from them. And of course, we've got live race control in the Super Freeze tonight, deciding to give that to the broadcast split and let the Super 2s themselves for a while. So hopefully the Super 2s are being well behaved. I'm sure you'll see it in the Discord.
I think we may have got both. I think Jamie Budd's in here. I think Josh is in the Super 2s.
Oh, beautiful. Even better. There you go. Race control across both splits tonight. Jason Sculler trying to get back past Baldwin, and I just wanted to make a note, and there we go, Mark Foster in 6th, Blake Fitzpatrick, apologies, in 6th, moving his way back up to 5th, and isn't it nice to see another Aussie in an AlphaTauri livery, well deep inside.
Well, that being said, just as you said that, it's almost perfect timing, Liam Banks. Joe Baldwin back down the inside, this time it's a bit cleaner, and Joe is moving himself up into 8th. In the 7th, but then Jason Scholar got the better run off turn 4, and now Joe's in all sorts of trouble because he's got Brandon Griffiths breathing down his throat as well. Have a look at this, and in behind them, of course, Michael Fraser. You mentioned the AlphaTauri, Liam Banks. Apparently, Daniel Ricciardo's keeping the mo. Formula One reckon that's worthy of a Facebook status that simply reads confirmed. Mustaches add speed. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but I tell you what, it looks as rough as guts. And he might need to shave it tomorrow if he's going to contribute to the Movember course, which of course starts on Wednesday. Back out along the back of the circuit we go once more. Joe Baldwin stuck in 8th spot, unable to get by Jason Scholar despite his best efforts. Leader is Greg Cook by 4.8 seconds already, and we're only at the end of lap 5.
Yeah, well, of course, we did see Baldwin ahead of Sculler for a while, and Sculler's got back past, and now Baldwin's trying to retake the manoeuvre. So I do wonder if that was just a plain overtake from Sculler, or if Baldwin did get a note from race control that maybe handing that position back. That's the smart thing to do. Trying to get back past Sculler, up the inside, down into turn 1. Absolutely textbook. Now all he has to do is hold it. Oh, no, that's not going to work. That's Blake Fitzpatrick trying to recover from that incident we just saw the replay of, and just going down the inside. Sculler tried to follow Baldwin through, but Sculler was actually cutting in behind Baldwin, didn't expect it, and they tagged. Yeah, and look at the damage to that front end as a result, and into the wall, potentially Griffiths. He went wide, really wide. Used all the AstroTurf and then some. In fact, he might have actually just got a little bit of a nudge off the wall to flick him left instead. That was extremely wide and extremely lucky. He could have been in the fence. Yeah, any higher in that, Carl would be smelling weed. But I think attempting to take the Alonso line, as you called it earlier, and just not getting it right. So you saw there, it was a case of just trying to put the car down the inside a bit cheeky, and the car on the outside, just not knowing who was there and still diving in to take the apex. And well, that's never going to work. 2 into 1 does not go. This is Greg Spencer, so he's recovering from a spin there. How is he going to do that here? Oh, car gets unsettled over the crest. You do. Oh. Well, car looks fine after the roll. Not very often you can roll the car and keep going, so he'll count his lucky stars. And this is Baldwin trying to pressure Mark Foster in 6th and 4th place.
Down the main straight they'll go, and to turn 1 once more. Right on board, we look out the back from Baldwin to Fraser. Pit stop starting to play out here. Michael Fraser was there Mark Foster, of course, was the one following Baldwin. It was Fraser that came into pit lane. Got caught out by my own sentence structure there. Fraser in pit lane at the end of lap 5. So, given that lap 5 chews up about 8 minutes around here, he should be safe based on the numbers that Adam Lavis presented to 15 months ago. To get home from there, 17 minutes is less than 19 for the mathematical genius among you. And of course, That should see him get through. Unimpeded to the checkered flag, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a variance in strategy here, Liam, because this is one of those sort of real estates where you would appreciate a little bit of clear air from time to time, given the tight, congested, tricky nature of it.
Yeah, it's funny because we go sim racing, we go endurance racing on this platform a lot, and in a lot of our series even we have longer races than the 25 minutes we've got here. But when you are in a car that's this difficult to drive, when you're on a track that is this unforgiving and this demanding, you better get a second to take stock and just calm down a little bit. You're into corner after corner after corner, and you're right, it really helps if you get a few laps in clean air, calm down a little bit, just focus on finding your rhythm and then holding that until the end of the race. It's going to benefit those that get that, as opposed to those that are constantly fighting the whole way through, never get a rhythm. By the end of it, they're prone to making mistakes, like we've seen quite a few of the drivers make already. And this is Fitzpatrick trying to get back Foster, which would mean it's 2 positions lost for Foster in 2 laps. Going backwards, I wonder if he might benefit from a pit stop sooner rather than later.
And the plus side with the supercars is unless you're taking less than 10 litres of fuel, tyres and fuel tyres are a free commodity in a pit stop. So get fresh rubber, get out there, get some good grip, and go for hell for leather in that second stint. Oh!
Oh!
Oh, what a save that was for Mark Foster. How the hell did he get away with that? Extraordinary. Foster lives to fight another day, but that could have well been curtains. Have a look at this again. We're right on board with it. We need to go back a little bit further, actually. This is the incident. We got it crossed up on that ripple strip right there. Whoa. Talk about hairy, brown toad sort of moment stuff.
Recovers it perfectly on the racing line, but that was a car whose tyres are not happy with the driver. They've had a domestic. They're staying together for the kids at the moment. I think he just needs to move on, find himself a new set of tyres, and see if some of his grip comes back. This is Jared Gilbert. He's under pressure from Justin Connor and Michael Fraser, the 3 of them in less than half a second on the track. 2 of them side by side now. Gilbert on the inside, Fraser on the outside. Fraser now defending from, Cotter now defending from Fraser. So it's Cotter in the red and white, Fraser in the blue and white at the back, and in the darker coloured car is Jared Gilbert. Gilbert getting a bit of breathing space there because Cotter got it all wrong on the exit, and I think Fraser behind him had to check up a little bit. We'll see if they can get a good run out of this final corner here and set themselves up in the first corner. If anything, it's going to be Fraser getting past Cotter, and it certainly will be, because Cotter is diving into pit lane. And Mark Foster, meanwhile, continues his slide backwards. It's Brandon Griffiths next in the queue to go deeper into the top 10. Still attacking the curves, isn't he, Foster? You think maybe he would have learned his lesson after just about saving it a couple of laps ago, but instead he's going health lever, a bit of a lock up there. It looks like he's just over the drive in the car a little bit, needs to calm down a bit. I think he's one that could benefit from what you were saying earlier, Zach. Just a few laps without battling.
He's the beneficiary of the fact that the car didn't snap the wrong way, because if it did, he would have written the thing off. It's an incredible, and it's aptly appropriate, ironic even. I think he's in position number 7 at the moment, because we often say lucky 7. No one luckier than Mark Foster on that racetrack right now. Into the pit lane from the leaders, Greg Brooks. The race leader comes to the end of pit road at the end of lap 9, the start of lap 10. We're at the 15-minute mark on the platforms of the GSRC. You're watching Player One Sim Gear Super 3 in Zandvoort. Here's a moment for Jared Gilbert. You're going to get some assistance here? Oh, no. He didn't get assistance. He just ran out of luck because he was just the unlucky person in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then look at the log jam and the garbage unfolding there as everybody arrives on scene. So that was unlucky for Gilbert. Absolutely nothing he could have done to save that.
Yeah, I think that's Cotter struggling on the fresh tyres, I imagine, out of pit lane. Having a spin on his outlap. If I'm right, that is Cotter. and then it just was one of the worst possible places in it. Didn't slide far enough to get off the racing line, just right in the middle of the track, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to get out of the way. You could see drivers pulling into him, blocking more of the track, knows he's got to try and open up a bit of a spot, and it's one of those scenarios where there's no right thing to do, everything is awful, you just grit your teeth, close your eyes, and hope you manage to find yourself pointing the right way and driving again. And thankfully he has, when he's down in 20th, when earlier we were seeing him battling quite a bit higher than that. Of course, he has pitted, so he will come up a little bit, but he's not even near the front of those that pitted. The leader of those is Greg Brooks, who pitted from first, and then it's Joe Baldwin, Michael Fraser, and Jason Sculler, who Costa was fighting with earlier.
Interesting thing with the pits here, there's a bunch of guys who've done 10, 11 second stops, and there's two groups. There's 10, 11 seconds, and then there's 14 to 16 second groups. So, have some guys on the field, or have some guys over field, is the question.
Down the main straight we go. Here comes Brandon Griffiths in 5th place. So Justin Witcher goes to pit lane. Griffiths continues on, so too Curtin, Schultz and Fitzpatrick. Schultz is having a very quiet, under-the-radar sort of run.
Well, he was leading this championship up until last week in a shocker, so needs to get some points tonight to get things back on track.
Just keeping his nose clean will be the best way to go about that, I would imagine.
You mentioned the pit times, Adam, and there's some drivers that pitted earlier than others who still had short pit stops. I'm looking at Jason Sculler in particular, 10.95 second stop, which is on the quicker side of things, but he pitted early on lap 7 compared to most that pitted lap 9 or 10, so he may be one of those that has potentially underfilled either that, or he's not taking tyres. I know what you're saying before is that tyres are basically free, anything over 10 seconds you get them, so we'll have to wait and see how that ends up, and that is Jason Cotter. His race going from bad to worse, and practicing for his moonlighting as a grass cutter, I imagine, in a future life.
Oh dear. Back we go. 17th place at the moment on screen there at the moment. Sean van der Meulen. Justin Cotter is the next one down the line, but of course he's locked in battle at the moment with Van der Meulen with Aaron Bryan. To pit lane comes Bradley Curtin. Aidan Schultz goes on to lead a lap. And a 5-second penalty coming the way. Adam Johnson there as well in position number 4 continuing.
Now watching Greg Brooks, who's the last lap of the race and is effectively the leader of the race once the field has cleansed itself. He's in 3rd place on the road, but both drivers ahead of him are yet to pit, and those are Schultz, who's in the lead, and Fitzpatrick, who's running the AlphaTauri livery. We've seen him on screen quite a bit in this race. This is Joe Baldwin. He's another one of the that pitted, and he is right behind.
Oh, jeez! That was hairy. Joe almost had the door firmly slammed in his face in a straight line. Round onto the main straight, and Gilly's holding nothing here at the moment, but now he pulls the pit lane and releases Joe. So you have to wonder why Grant was racing so vigorously in the first place. So Baldwin goes round in position at number 11. There are still 4 drivers yet to complete their stop ahead of Joe. Let's see where he'll balance. He'll come out in the grand scheme of things off the road. Hairy moment. Justin Cotter. Oh, Jared Gilbert, my apologies. There was an off-track alert for Justin Cotter at the same time. So we'll have to follow that one up with interest. In the meantime, that was very nicely done from Joe. And Grant, interesting tactics from Grant Gill. We'll ask him about that next time we have a chance to chat to him. The fact that he was racing so hard, knowing that they were probably on a different strategy, and very lucky that it didn't blow up in smoke.
And even more interesting, he's spent 49 seconds in the pit lane, and that was his 2nd pit. So not sure what's going on there, but something a little bit unorthodox. I imagine he may have angered the iRacing gods at some point.
Yep.
The stewards up in the sky.
And Johnny Simpson highlighting the point quite beautifully there at the moment, that Zandvoort is proving to be a challenge. In pit lane, Blake Fitzpatrick, Brandon Griffiths, Aidan Schultz was resumed in 3rd place. But 8.9 first to second, and 4 seconds back from 2nd to 3rd, and 3 seconds from 3rd to 4th. And this 3-way fight between Blake Fitzpatrick, Michael Fraser and Dimitri Kolbach. 5th, 6th, and 7th in the car race run. Whoa. Fraser holding on to P5. We're on lap 13. We're 4 minutes and 12 seconds from home. Monday Night Motorsport, leg one of the doubleheader on the platforms of the GSRC. I believe I'm right in saying that we're off to Brazil next for GT3. Is that right, gentlemen?
Yes.
Pro split tonight?
No.
AM split. AM split. Fun. For 60
That's
minutes
gonna be-
around the Interlargos circuit. How good.
That's going to be absolutely superb. I have to
The AM
say,
racing has been fantastic this season.
all the racing has been fantastic this season, hasn't it? I bet it's even better when I'm not here, because that's just the way the world
Well,
works.
you weren't here. You weren't here last week. You missed out on some good racing at Road America. There's no doubt about that. Good to have you back on that note, by the way.
I think it's nice to be back, as nice as last Monday was, spending some time with my brother. It's very good to be back, although it was a busy week, so I am running very tired, which is why I couldn't think of the word for gardener earlier on, and I called him a grass cutter instead. I just want to give props to Blake Fitzpatrick. Really difficult job feeding out into the middle of the battle between Justin Richer and Michael Fraser. I think most drivers would have just let both go past because it's really scary when you're going out the lane and your mirrors are full of car. Blake Fitzpatrick managed to feed himself very cleanly in the middle of the two of them, not lose too much time, and I thought that was worth calling out because it's an underrated skill, being able to feed out into traffic when you're coming out pit lane.
Inside the final 3 minutes now. My voice box starting to give way after getting punished over the course of the weekend. No one happy that we reached the end of the Hyundai Excel Nationals weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted that to continue going on forever. The only thing begging for mercy was my voice box. The full weekend out at carco.com.au raceway, unsurprisingly. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left here. And if I don't make it through the rest of the night, I'll leave you in the capable hands of... if you hear the voice box start to go, mate, you're going to have to take up front running. And I'll slot into the co-driver's seat. But 2 minutes to go. We're on the run home.
Got our new cider sponsor. We need to find Zaki a honey and buttermento sponsor.
Actually, I might get some honey delivered to the broadcast booth here when Mum gets home from work. I might send her an SMS actually and say, quietly let yourself in, not through the roller door that makes thunderous noise, but instead the other wooden door. We'll wait and see.
I'm not sure what happened. Like Joe fell back in the pit phase, but I can't see where. There's no incidents or anything, so I'm not sure what happened to him because he was up a little higher up, and then he's fallen back behind a few guys. So not sure what happened there.
He wasn't one of the ones that got put up in the.
His pit stops fine. I just think he's just lost some time somewhere.
And that's Mark Foster going off the track. Fair to say, Foster just struggling a little bit as the race has gone on. Started well. Seems to have the absolute pace, but is struggling over a stint. Got a few things in common with his countryman Oscar Piastri on that, who's having a fabulous rookie year, but his tyre management is not his best skill. This is, however, is Greg Brooks, who is managing those tyres absolutely perfectly. Looks doing his best in pushing Max Verstappen, actually. Leading from the start and just leading every single lap. And just, I don't know if he's seen another car or race except for that one.
Adam Johnson.
About to go off track in front of him. Oh no, he saved him. That was fantastic. He's driving in the wrong category. We need to get him in a drifter.
I am looking at the clock here, boys. 33, 32, 31 seconds. We'll wait and see. Will our race leader, here he is now, Greg Brooks, come back to the line and get the white flag? Yes, he will. We'll go around one more time. We'll get to 16 laps. Well played, Greg Brooks. White flag in the air. It's flying at Zandvoort. Fun, he's actually on deck tonight, not wagging, as has often been the case in recent weeks. Nice to see you. Where's your absentee slip, please? No, it's been a cracker of a performance from Greg Brooks to the point where we haven't really seen him. We have not seen him at all. A 5-second penalty there for Fitzpatrick. And Greg Brooks, I mean, it's been an untroubled run. It's been 2 weeks in a row. He is the benchmark in this category at the present point. Liam Banks, clinical yet again. Doesn't matter the racetrack. He's just in a sweet spot of form at the moment.
Yeah, a brilliant performance from Greg Brooks. Like I said, you know it's good when you don't see them. When they're in the race, and that's exactly what Greg Brooks has done. He's just gone about his business very quietly, barely registered an off track. If he has registered one, I haven't seen it. Hasn't been involved in incidents, put himself 10, almost 11 seconds ahead of the next nearest car, which is about half a second, let's say 4 attempts a lap faster than the rest of the field at least. That's just driving in another split, essentially. So Greg Brooks is going to thoroughly deserve this victory, assuming he can get around the last few corners safely. We haven't absolutely put the mockers on him by celebrating before he stopped finishing.
Even with a spin, I think he'd be able to get it turned around and get back to the start-finish line before the competition arrives. The margin is 11 seconds. The performance has been a demolition job on the field. Saw clear air, took off, and didn't look back. Greg Brooks gets the job done in Holland. Well done. Round 6 of the championship in Play 1 Sim Gear Super 3 goes to the forward. Bradley Curtin second, Aidan Schultz third. Justin Richer is going to hold on to fourth. Blake Fitzpatrick with a 5-second penalty will lose fifth to Michael Fraser, the way things stand at the moment. And of course we get down to Jason Scholar, Brandon Griffiths, Joe Baldwin, Mark Foster, Greg Spencer, and Matthew Beale rounds out the top 12. So Scholar and Fraser will swap. Fitzpatrick and Fraser will swap places. Everything else remains as is, unless Nigel Patton pops a 5-second penalty there as well. But he's not factoring in the equation, having finished down in 19th.
And there's still racing going on, still incidents going on. Brian in 13th. It looks like it's just coming together with Dimitri Kolbach. And not sure who instigated what there, but there were certainly cars in the gravel. And here's some cars doing some donuts to celebrate. I wonder if Greg Brooks, Zandvoort, he would win this race today.
It's very nice. You're hitting your straps very early in the evening, don't you? Don't peak too early. In saying that, yeah, it's interesting because you look at Brooks, Curtin, Schultz, Witcher, and Fitzpatrick, the top 5. And then the expression session that follows down there at turn 1. Ford, Holden, Ford, Holden, 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 Ford, 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 5 and 5 in the top 10 and even split. But at the end of the day, you're not having much luck in the real world, with the exception of the Gold Coast, which a lotto draw set up sometimes. But Ford are on top in Super 3 at the moment, and they're enjoying it. They're enjoying it in the form of a demoralising performance from Greg Brooks to put 11 and 2/3 of a second on the field in just 16 laps, just 25 minutes. They're Matt Dench type numbers, and Dench normally wins by that margin over an hour. So Brooksy obviously had everything in check tonight to achieve that. That was a clinical performance. Well played. Got the job done. We've run through the top 12 there for you to Beale, Colbach, Bryan. Then, of course, Vander Meulen was there in 15th. Gilbert got back to 16th. Cotter, Johnson, Patton, and also Matthew George made up the top 20. There are going to be a few retirements and all that. There are going to be a few drivers a lap down. There are going to be a few penalties applied. But as it sits on screen, they're the provisional results.
I think Mark Foster will be one of the most disappointed drivers with how that went in the end. Strong start, as you say, dives at the middle of 2 cars, gets himself up into 5th place at the start, but from there just seemed to fall down through the pack as the race went on. Strong drive from Sculler, still having a couple of good battles early on. He's up 3 places, not nearly as many places as Joe Baldwin, who's up 7, 16th to 9th. That's a good evening's racing from him. And Dimitri Kolbach, another who made big moves up the field. He's up 7, as was Matthew Beale was up 6, and Justin Cotter up 6 places, despite a big incident for him that we saw blocked part of the track. This is Sean van der Meulen. He had a spin on lap 1, had to wait for the entire field to go past before he could continue on, and he recovered to 15th, which was actually only 1 spot behind where he qualified. So all in all, he'll be happy with his night's racing. But there are a few drivers that caught out by what is a very tight, tricky track. A few drivers electing not to race at all, use it as one of the drop rounds and just go find other things to do with their night. But those drivers that stuck it out, learnt the track, were treated to an absolutely brilliant race with battles
Lovely.
up and down the field, and we're going to hear from a few of them starting right now.
Yeah, let's bring in Greg Brooks at this point in time. Brooksy, that looked like a 25-minute training run for you when you look at the margin, mate. But it's a tough track to master. Everything went your way tonight, though. It just fell nicely into your lap. You were able to take the lead early, hold sway, and just slowly, gradually draw away from the field, mate. 11.66 seconds and another race win. Well done.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, it was a good race. I spent a lot of time practicing. Like I said last week, I've never driven this track, so it was head down, bum up, and get some practice in.
Indeed. And, I mean, not everybody's cup of tea, but clearly championship points are important because you never know when you're going to have a rough night at the office. So for those that have decided to class this as one of their drop rounds, they've got to, tread lightly over the course of the next 4 weeks, because if they trip up, it could be that they've made a rod for their own back by sitting tonight out.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to capitalise as much as possible, seeing as though I missed race 2 and 3, so trying to make up for lost time, I guess.
So essentially, you're already in the position that some people are going to be joining you in the next couple of weeks. It's been nice to be able to showcase Super 3 for our audience as well, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't across the fact that you missed races 2 and 3. However, in saying that, it's the best of 8 that count, and 2 wins will go a long way to helping you out immensely in the final count, the final wash of things in 4 weeks' time, mate, when we're back here on the last, what will be Monday of November.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's been a hard slog up to now, and hoping I can continue this run for the rest of the season and try and gain as much as possible before the end, make up for those extra lost points. And
talk us through, if Adam can bring the calendar up on screen there for us, what's ahead for the next few weeks. Of course, we end with a 45-minute race around Mount Panorama on November 27th. That's well documented. That is known. That is fact. Motorland Aragon next week, then the Chicago Street Circuit, then Sandown. So again, we go to a circuit that's probably a little bit, what would you say, a little bit more flowing, a little bit more friendly for these cars than Zandvoort. Then we tighten things up to a concrete canyon again. We've already visited one of them throughout the course of the season. That was, of course, Watkins Glen there a couple of weeks ago. Armco everywhere. Sandown, we know it, we love it, but it's fraught with danger. And, of course, Bathurst is Bathurst.
Yeah, well, the next 3 races I've never turned a wheel at all, so that's going to be another, like Zandvoort, sit down and put some laps in. But yeah, Mount Panorama, very, very excited for that one.
And actually, Adam, talk us, because you've obviously seen the schedule, Motorland Aragon Outer. So I know we've got the MotoGP layout and we've got the Grand Prix course layout per se that the four-wheelers use. Is Outer a shorter configuration?
So my understanding is it still uses the GP hairpin, but it basically cuts out the bus stop in front of the wall. So you go from the corkscrew and then all the way to the hairpin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we cut out 4 corners.
Pretty much, yes. Big long blast down the back straight.
So the slipstreaming game will be alive and well next week. Well, that being said, slipstreaming might not be to your advantage there, Greg, because the longer they can latch on, the longer you're under the pump. But in saying that, I mean, obviously, you're looking at those last 2 as must-wins, but surely, given what you said earlier about rounds 3 and 4, if you can't win those next 2, just limiting the damage and achieving what's best as possible, staying out of trouble is key.
Yeah, I was actually a bit concerned because Bradley was sticking with me for a good while in the first couple of laps, and I thought, oh, he's got a good draft. It's the cars carry a lot of draft on that back straight. If you can get a good exit on the second to last, it pulls you around really well. So I thought I'm going to really have to work to get rid of him here. And yeah, so then once I was able to get away, then it was kind of felt a little bit more relaxing or less stressful, really. So yeah, hoping these next tracks can, if I can pull away, if I'm in that opportunity, then then good. But I feel like it's going to be a lot more work to try and break that toe.
Indeed. And who are you most fearful of as far as your competition is concerned? If there's a track where you can't exactly master it and they're able to go with you, who are you most worried about?
Oh, to be honest, I'm not sure. I mean, Brad and I battling, pretty sure it was Brad last week. Yeah, we're battling quite heavily throughout to Road America. And I know Aiden's he was been in the lead of the championship so far, so they didn't get to where they are for nothing. So they're my biggest concerns at the moment.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. We'll leave it there on that note, unless Banksy's got a question he wants to throw your way. Although I must admit I can see Banksy's on mute at the moment, so I'm going to assume that he's gone to intermission, gone to have a bite to eat. So we'll leave it there on that note. Greg, well done, mate. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the rest of the season. I'm not sure when we next check in with Super 3, but hopefully we do get to at some point. We wish you all the best for the remaining 4 rounds.
No worries. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Seven Varga from Super 2. So on that note, Adam Lavis might have the results from Super 2 there available to us at some point, and we'll hopefully bring them to you. In the meantime, as we wait for those, or have we got them? Adam Lavis is on his way to do that. Steve, wait for me there. I'll come back to you. Yep. Schultzy, let's go to you because you were in the Super 3 race here. Third, second of the Ford time. Is there much of a difference between the Fords and the Holdens in this series?
Mate, no idea. I'm just happy that I got through that unscathed after Road America, to be honest. So happy to get P3. I had a 30-point lead going into Road America, and that evaporated very quickly. So yeah, me and Brad there. I was hoping I had something for him, but didn't quite have anything for him. But I was just surprised I was in P3 and actually absolutely stoked to get some good championship points to keep going on into the championship. So yeah, it was a great race. Happy with P3.
Indeed, and in saying all of that, I mean a great result for you because last week you did have some trouble. I think you might have been a pinata at some point, but in saying that, a good way to bounce back on a track that doesn't favour everybody, doesn't suit everybody. Probably not a circuit you'd associate with the supercars. Although that being said, it does have a couple of Winton vibes about it, given its tight and technical nature. But it went well.
Yeah, it did, mate. It was good. I was surprised to be in P3 on my good old baseline set, as I do. And race pace felt all right. I thought I was catching Bradley there for a bit, but I was worried about Witcher in behind me, Justin, as well. He had a really good drive, so a little bit of driving in the mirrors and trying to catch in the front, but we really just had to get that pit stop done and that strategy done. We had the Quantum guys in my ear and they were doing all my strategy for me. So we got that done and we got P3, so that's good. It's a good chunk of points. We keep going on and yeah, we see how we go. We go into GT3s next, which of course I've had a race win, but I'm not comfortable around Interlargos, so don't expect me to be at the front, mate.
Great little circuit. I'm looking forward to it in just a few moments' time. We'll be calling that race as well, mate. We wish you well. As far as the rest of the supercar campaign is concerned, obviously that was a bit of a setback last week. What are you feeling about the next 4 circuits? Do they suit you? Is there any there that you're a little bit hesitant, a little bit worried about?
I'm looking forward to Bathurst. Done many laps around there in the real world, so that's not really going to worry me. The Australian circuits I'm pretty okay with, but the concrete jungle I'm a little bit concerned about, so that'll be like damage limitation there, so we'll see how we go. But mate, this series is good. It's Super 3. All the guys are great racing. We'll just see how we go, and it was great driving by all the guys at the front tonight. And mate, at the end of the day, it's not about, well, it is about results, but we're just trying to limit what we saw at Road Atlanta last week. So we'll do that and the results will take care of itself.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Congratulations. Great result there. Banksy, anything you want to ask our commentary colleague here before I pick his brain about what's coming up?
I was actually going to ask him how supercars ranks amongst all the series he races in, because he seems to be racing just about everything at the moment.
Yeah, mate, I can answer that. Supercars I never race. So the winner, Brooksy, he said he did a lot of practice. I did about 7 minutes. So Yeah, I don't do a lot of practice in the supercar. It's not really my wheelhouse. I do like the older supercars that we're in the Super 2, Super 3 more opposed to the new ones. My sort of thing I generally run would be GTs, or I love some NASCAR as well. So, yeah, how it ranks, I'm loving the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and doing a bit of the road stuff, which is my wheelhouse in the real world. I haven't done a lot of it in the iRacing stream. Or iRacing network since I've joined. So, yeah, it's good to get back into it, and yeah, good to get some good results, man. So we'll see how we go.
Schultz, one more from me, obviously, with regards to the supercars tonight. Where did the others get away from you, mate? Because there was a clear discrepancy in the pace at the top end of town, some big buffers, some big margins there.
Mate, from a driver coach, it was just I was overdriving the car, to be honest. Just trying to catch up with Bradley, just overdriving it. So they did a better job on the night, and I could have done a better job. But at the same time, I got a P3, so you can't be unhappy with that. So we got through it. We qualified well. We didn't get in an incident in the first lap, which we did last week at Road America, but I didn't qualify well last week, so I put myself in that position. So at the end of the day, it just goes to show qualify well, start well, and you'll be there or thereabouts. So good to come away with a P3 tonight, but me and the boys from Quantum, we're going to be there in the GT3s tonight. We'll have a trundle and see how we go.
And on the subject of work, how was the Gold Coast?
Mate, it was great. Busy. Met a lot of sim racers that I've spoke to through the headset, but haven't actually met in real life. So it was good to catch up with them. A lot of people from the Blendline TV aspect, and a lot of people that we've all been associated with. So it was really good, but it was great from a business perspective. A young 12-year-old took out the title, actually, doing a 111 flat around Bathurst in the supercar. So that was good. Mind you, he was still off me, but I'll take that. But
Shorty, we didn't see this moment that's just being replayed on screen here. That moment through turn 2 and 3.
I'm not looking at it at the moment, mate. So.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what lap of the race it was, but you had a little bit of a bobble and kissed the grass on the exit of 3 going into 4 into the hairpin there.
Probably just running out of talent as per usual, mate.
I was going to say, I'm glad that you enjoyed the second biggest event on the Australian Motorsport calendar across the course of the weekend, mates. The big ticket item, of course, was over in Perth, but that's another story. Go and get stuck into GT3, mate. We wish you well there. We'll be watching on. We'll be calling the action, and we'll review it with you at the end.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks for broadcasting. Hopefully I'll do all right. Don't expect for me to be on the broadcast screens much at all. So I've done a couple of officials today or this afternoon, and I was nowhere. So, but we'll see how we go. But thanks, guys.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. We'll have a look at those results from the Super 2 split now, if we can, please, Adam Lavis. And remind everybody that Timmy Harris got the job done there. Jaden Green was second, and the man joining us in the booth, Stephen Varga, third. I'll let you have a look at the results there for your own interest, ladies and gentlemen. Mikey Hammond in 5th place, I've noticed. Dave Oliver having a good run as well, so too Ryan Tegel and David Christensen. But Stephen Varga, talk to me about the challenges of Zandvoort, because I'm just having a look at the finishing margins here. 5 seconds the difference between first and second, and another 6 back to you. So the field equally is spread out at the top end of town in Super 2 as it was Super 3, mate.
Yeah, it was a good race. I hadn't been on that circuit since they've done the update, so it was a little bit different. I like what they've done with it, the last corner especially. Yeah, no, it was an interesting race. I got lucky in the end. There was an incident between Greg Patel and Mikey Hammond. And yeah, I got lucky there.
And to be fair, the circuit isn't everybody's cup of tea. It's a difficult one to master. The fact that it is only 25 minutes though, does it require a different level of concentration to some of the other tracks we visit?
Yeah, I suppose so. I think they've widened it. It feels like they've widened it a little bit. Yeah, no, it's good that it's only 25 minutes because I don't have that much of attention span, so looks good.
And what about the races to come, mate, before we quickly take a break here and turn our attention to GT3? The 4 races to come, any queries there, any circuits that aren't necessarily to your liking?
Yeah, most of them.
Oh no. Why is that?
Bill, it's just me personally. I like when the car understeers a lot.
Okay.
Might be I have too much rotation on my steering wheel. I'm not sure. Just do the best with what I can. There we go.
So persevere with it and hope for the best, and just chip away at it and keep your fingers crossed that you can keep the thing straight.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's often documented how difficult these things are to drive. They're not NASCARs or ARCA cars, but they are not straightforward, easy to drive. It will be interesting to see what happens across the course of the next 4 weeks. But it's interesting that you say that, despite the fact that you've got good pace and some good results on the board, mate, that you're not 100% comfortable with the car. That comes with time, I'd take it.
I've been doing it for 10 years now, so I should be
Okay,
comfortable,
so no.
but I'm not.
Okay. All right. So I guess the question is, how bad's the drug that you stick with it despite the fact that you're still not across it entirely?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very nicely done. Questions asked and answered. Well done. Thank you for that. Go well. Thanks for stopping by to have a chat to us, and well done on the podium finish.
Thanks for having us.
All right. A quick break on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Chance for me to clear the throat. Reminder that we do this each Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, with thanks to the people scrolling across the bottom of your screen, including Player One Sim Gear. Globesy Racing, get on your Trent, and M-Wave Flash Graphics. Our great friends at Waste Options, also Orbit Australia, the newest sponsor of the club, Freight Insider, and of course, Login Systems. A quick break, back with more across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Monday Night Motorsport for the final time in October, the first of the second half of Term 4. It's Week 6, Night 1, Term 4 on the platforms of GSRC. We go GT3 Racing, the mainstay of the Monday night main course. On the other side of this, from the Interlargos circuit in Brazil. Stay with us. Turn 4, Week 6, Night 1, Platforms Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, Monday Night Motorsport for the penultimate night of October. And, of course, we are turning our attention now from Player 1 Sim Gear Super 3 to Waste Options GT3 to the AM Split again, to the Interlargos circuit in Brazil. One of my favourites. Not everybody's cup of tea, though. But this one is one of those racetracks that throws up great variables and great racing, and we're looking forward to. Instead of the usual sprint features around here, we're just going for an all guns blazing, all out 60-minute affair tonight to get the second half of the campaign underway on the back of last week's 90-minute enduro rather around Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. I'm Zach Caban, Liam Banks is here as well, Adam Lavis too, as we continue Monday Night Motorsport for you. And there are the championship points coming into this round. Jermaine Takaru on top with 204 points, 191 for the second place runner there, Greg Heaney. Gary Cousins is third, Paul Wood is fourth, and Sean Benici is fifth. Now, it's Porsche Ferrari, McLaren, and it's 31 points rather, covering first and fifth. And then just 1 point back to James Francone, Bradley Curtin, and further 2 points back. So that mid-pack is contested at the moment. 154 apiece for both Aidan Schultz and Dale Sharp. And, of course, Dane Snadden in the top 10. And one thing we've seen here, Liam Banks, is the absence of Audi, the absence of Lamborghini, the absence of Ford. But still, 5 manufacturers in the top 5 reminds us that even though we've got a real BMW Ferrari thing going along in GT3 Pro, and quite nicely as well, I might add, all manufacturers in the mix here by virtue of different race results, different consistencies, different performances, and different driver likeness. So much to like about GT3 and going into the second half of the campaign.
Yeah, and as we said before, particularly in the amateur split where you're not quite as close to the ultimate pace of the cars, finding the car that you're comfortable with and that you can extract the best out of is going to do a lot better for you than trying to drive something that you just don't like. Just ask Daniel Ricciardo what it's like trying to drive a car that you can't get along with, and then and you'll know how much it can impact even the very best drivers. And with all due respect to everyone in the pro and the amateur split, they're probably not quite as good as Danny Rick. So it's definitely something worth keeping in mind. And yeah, it's a really good split across the top 10. What it does do is it means we see different drivers come up and down the order as we go to different circuits with different characteristics, and that's one of the beautiful things about a series like the GT3, where there is a balance of power. They're all very, very close. You can race what you want, but just naturally some cars are going to suit some tracks are going to suit some cars better than others, and you're going to see a bit more natural fluctuation than you might see than you would see in a one-make series, where the same drivers can live on top again and again and again. It means you need a bigger gap to the drivers around you if you want to consistently beat them. The sort of gap that Matty Dench has on the rest of the field.
Yeah, cannot wait to see what Denchi brings to the table tonight when we have a look at the GT3 Pro results a little bit later on. There's the circuit. It's one of our favourites. It's smidgen under 4.3 kilometres. We're looking at 8:40 in the morning. That time's about to tick over, though, as the race server clicks into gear very shortly. 26 degrees the ambient, so too the track. Sorry, 17 degrees the ambient and 27 the track. My apologies. Getting ahead of myself there. We're at Sao Paulo in Brazil, the Interlargos circuit in the beautiful Sao Paulo region.
I love how
one of the great South American countries of the world.
I love how the recent SDK updates broken the pressure gauge.
Yes, well and truly. Wow. 15% humidity, so that won't play a part either. Clear conditions here. We are ready to rock and roll. It's a circuit with great character, but it's also fraught with danger as well, Banksy. It's very easy to trip up here, and trip ups, as we know, are costly.
Yeah, and isn't that first sector just one of the greatest sectors in racing? That first corner, so iconic. The way it just collapses beneath you to the left. Got to get the car all together, otherwise you're going to spin out at the top of the hill, and then the car bottoms out. The car compresses as you reach the bottom. You can take the right-hander faster than you dare normally, and it's just a corner that really rewards precision as well as bravery. And it looks like it's Mark Gomez that has messed with that corner best in qualifying. He's got Dane Snadden alongside him on the front row. Then we've got Parry Anastakis and William Yarwood.
Parry Anastakis, Liam. That's a huge improvement week on week from him. He was nowhere at Road America last week.
Well, to be fair, his pace was really good. He just started at the back because I don't think he got a chance to qualify. But he made a lot of mistakes, but his pace was actually on par and right near the top of the field. So if he can put it together tonight, he might be a threat.
I love it when the great man's in the house. Looking forward to seeing how he performs. He's alongside another great man in William Yarwood, one of the great stalwarts of Australian karting over many, many years, and now remaining involved in an integral way as a team owner on this side of the fence. Fred Kahn and Greg Heaney from the third row, Gary Cousins, Braden O'Loughlin from the fourth row, and of course Neil Gladwin and Joe Baldwin the fifth. O'Loughlin, of course, a great win last week, but he took a half-point penalty because he ran deliberately, intentionally, told us in the broadcast post-race, the different manufacturers there. Curtin and Benici the sixth row, Francone and Takulu the seventh, Sharp and Wood the eighth, Bradbury and Gill the ninth, Roberts and Brett the 10th. Now, just want to actually, sorry, I've at the 10th, my apologies, I'm having a terrible night, so I should have brought my glasses out of the booth. I knew there was a reason I went inside before going on air here, and I forgot halfway through. 2:03 in the afternoon, track temperature is up to 43 degrees, ambient up to 20, and there's the rest of the good for you. Wooden, Butler, Schultz and Zamora from the 12th row. Oh, geez, he was right. He wasn't expecting great things from himself. Aiden Schultz, right? Marty Mitchell, Brett Campbell, then Tristan Koch, Sean Vandermeulen, and we go back to Adam Johnson, Ganesh Bangwani, and also Greg Spencer and Nigel Patton making up the field. Your tip, Banksy, and why?
Tip's got to go to Dane Stanton. We've seen him do great things in amateur series in the GT3s before, and I think he's going to bring it again tonight. And it won't be long until we find out, because they're about to go racing. They're just coming around into the final sector. They got two right-handers to go. They'll make the iconic climb up the hill where Hamilton famously overtook Tim McLaughlin. We've got one of the most quoted phrases in modern motor racing, and we'll have to see if we get any memorable moments from the race tonight. I'm sure many of the drivers will walk away with favourite moments as they make some great overtaking at a track that just rewards and promotes cars going side by side, corner after corner. It really is one where at no point do you need to give up. No point do you need to just slot in behind the car on your inside. You can battle it out for as long as you want if you've got the pace and if you've got the skill. Some of these drivers will run out of skill tonight, some will retire early, some will fall down the others, and others will become heroes. Let's see what happens when the lights go green in about 10 seconds time.
Safety car pulls off into pit lane. Racing about to get underway. Leg 2 of the Monday Night Motorsport doubleheader, week 6 of turn 4. The platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Let's get to work. They stand out across the lane straight in Sao Paulo. 4 and 5 wide in some places, but the real estate's about to tighten up in terms of the track width to turn 1, so they've got to think smart and tactically about it. Get through the first corner cleanly because it's a long 60 minutes ahead, and it's not one on lap 1, and there's some trouble already. And they did very well for that not to end up in an absolute cluster.
Yeah, Bradley Curtin losing the rear end of his car as he tried to avoid the slow-moving Trishy Foot racing car that had gone wide on turn at the exit turn 1. That's another mistake there. So that's Brendan O'Loughlin. He's got a bit of oversteer coming down the hill, turned left into Gary Cousins. Well, I say turned left, spun left into Gary Cousins, and not much he could have done to avoid that. But the rest of the pack doing very well to get through clearly. Oh, I say that. There's absolute chaos. The track is blocked. There's cars everywhere.
A safety car might be deployed here, Banksy. I wouldn't be surprised if race control pull the trigger on it, just for the sake of, letting the field settle down and sort itself out. Yep, there it is. Safety car boards and flags. The lights ablaze. Yellow lights at that. And we get going. And we have the wind sucked out of our sails because we're going to bunch back up again. And Mark Gomez is the leader here. James Snadden in second place. Parry Anastakis third and William Yarwood fourth. Ferrari 1, 3, 5, 6, 7 at the moment. The first of the Porsches is Jermaine Tackling in 8th, up 6 spots already. Ryan Wooden in the Mercedes up 12 spots, if you can believe that, into 9th. And 10th place for Schulte in the Ferrari. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Ferraris in the top 10 at the moment. 148.226, the fastest lap of the race from Mark Gomez. Not a fair reflection of race pace, of course, because they've all been coming around at a moderate tempo since the safety car was deployed, Banksy, and that'll be in the name of saving a little bit of juice.
Yeah, it will be. It's an hour-long race. It's going to be a lot of tactics coming into play as they go around Interlargos tonight. It's hard in a situation like that because you want to congratulate the drivers that managed to make it through safely. Obviously, those that carry a bit more caution in the first lap, those that have learned to take it easy because you never know that what could happen, they've been rewarded here. But there's also more than a healthy dose of luck that goes into getting through those kind of incidents. But the best way to increase your luck in a race like this, where you've got over 30 cars going around Interlargos and pretty big cars in GT3s, is to qualify towards the front. And if you look at the top 5, there's been no positions gained, no positions lost, and they've avoided this because they qualified so well that it didn't matter what happened behind them. And that's the trick at a race like this. Not much we can do once the race starts.
No, let's have a look at the carnage, how it all unfolded here in wide, all unfolded 1, 2, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it was just a knock-on effect. Roadblock, no one with anywhere to go. Those that went left should have gone right, etc., and so forth.
Yeah, and you can see
in Brazil on the opening lap, and it was only a few minutes ago, Banksy, that I said double bruise very easily at this circuit. It's a great little racetrack when you get it right, but when you don't, it punishes you. And when the accidents unfold, they're usually big.
Yeah, it really does punish you, and there is plenty of runoff at this track, so it doesn't punish you unfairly. What we saw there was made a lot worse by drivers not holding the brakes, drivers not slowing down for yellow flags and trying to go through at full pace, trying to take advantage of the situation. Okay, there's only so good it could have got when you had so many cars crashing, but there's definitely a scenario where there's a lot less cars getting into trouble there because some cars are slowing down. That means other cars are approaching them quickly. They're having to go wide to avoid the cars that are slowing down. Some cars that stopped, you saw the ones in that shot all had the brakes, which is good. Some cars that have been involved, they're just letting themselves roll, which means you can't predict where to go if your car coming up on the accident. So yeah, could have been a lot better. I was gonna say could have been a lot worse, but yeah, it was about as bad as it gets. But thankfully, we do have the mechanism to send out a safety car, and we can get the field nice and bunched up. A bunch of the drivers that were involved, they'll go through pit lane, won't be far off the back of the pack. They'll be in the queue, they'll get their fast repair, and they'll be in the race. So none of those drivers will be out of this race necessarily unless they have chosen to pack it up because their luck is not with them tonight.
Not at all. Let's remind everybody of where we are. And we are behind the safety car at the end of the 5th minute of play, the end of the 2nd lap. So the lap behind the safety car, 2 minutes 41. So you're losing a good minute on your regular race lap times here. So you'll lose a 2nd minute very shortly. So that takes the predicted lap count back by 1. And also, I guess now the conversation will be had, gentlemen, whether there's any benefit at all in trying to save fuel and turn this into a one-stopper, remembering full well, race control reserved the right to deploy the safety car. Again, if needs be, they can keep it out there for an extra lap beyond this one, or they can bring it in this time round. I think that'll be the latter. I'm hoping it'll be the latter so we can get back to work. But now we're in an interesting position, particularly anyone that's just pitted that time round. They may be able to do it on one stop from here, whereas the front pack, it'll be a toss of the coin. Yeah,
it'll be a brave strategy to try and make it on one stop from here, particularly in the AM split where a lot of the drivers are a little bit less doing fuel saving and adjusting their driving to try and achieve that sort of outcome. But if anybody is brave enough to give it a try, they could reap the greatest of rewards. And whilst I was saying that, most drivers will be able to continue. A few haven't. Aaron Bryan, Lee Roberts and Jamie Budd look like they're not in the race, and Gill and Greg Heaney also look to have retired. Grant Gill messaging saying that he actually got disqualified because he tried to limp back to the pits, and it said that he was driving recklessly. So Grant Gill not having the best of the night. So you're more than welcome to come join us in the commentary box, Grant.
100%.
If you would like to.
However, in saying that, this is the thing that annoys me about iRacing, right? And again, it's virtual. I shouldn't get as fired up about it as I do. But I mean, if there's a mechanical black flag and a driver's that well, properly gone in the race car, and they're trying to limp it back to the pit lane, at least they're trying to do what they would do in the real world and get it to a safe place, either park it on the inside of a circuit. It's treated like there's no fast escape plan, no tow rope plan, no automatic tow rope plan. I mean, what's wrong with, here we go, we're going to get back to green. What's wrong with, trying to limp the thing back to pit lane? Don't punish people for trying to do that. We want to encourage people to get back to the pit lane, get their repair without doing it artificially to create that element of realism. Wide on the run down and turn one off the restart. I'll come back to that later because I've got I don't like this Grant trying it out. Because iRacing don't like the fact that he was trying to link back to pit lane under his own steam. Don't get me started tonight. I could probably tee off. Get on the back straight we go. And on screen at the moment, Dane Snadden in that BMW sitting prettily in second place. Now, that was what you were saying. Snadden's your tip tonight. He's in the box seat at the moment, but he's got to go with this hot shot named Mark Gomez.
Yeah, he's definitely on the defence at the moment, not looking to attack Mark Gomez, who has already pulled out a second, having only restarted on this lap. I do believe the Ferraris will be well suited to the circuit, that they're quite nimble, those machines, compared to the BMW. But that BMW, the grunt, it's going to help it get up the hill off the final corner. So I imagine if he can get close enough, he'll be well positioned to mount an attack into turn one. He may well struggle in this section of the track that we're in now, where it's just corner after corner after corner, and it tries to beat you into submission. This is Yarwood. He's in fourth place. Every driver in the top five has not moved. They are where they started, unlike the rest of the pack, who many have moved in the double digits, which is rare at this point in the race. James Francone getting a drive through there for not being cautious enough under the yellow flags. So the race control coming down hard on some of those drivers they feel played a part in that incident. I imagine we will see more penalties handed out over the next 5 to 10 minutes, and hopefully they have time to do that and they're not kept busy by those on track. And well, so far it's been a lot cleaner than lap one.
Not hard.
No, not hard.
Lap 5. 134.297 for the Ferrari, 135.3 for Snadden, 1.5 the margin. First to second. Here's some replays for you. Uh-oh.
That's Janesh Ragwarani. Looks like he's been helped
like he got
to the
absolutely
wall.
sent.
Yes. Another way of saying that. Absolutely
Hunted.
shunted.
Pole
Break-
waxed.
Braking a little bit earlier than the cars behind. Thought it would, and you're going to see that because the drivers have been making their pace at different points on the track, and it's tempting to say when a car brakes early that it's the car in front's fault potentially for braking earlier, but it really is on the car behind to make sure they brake safely, make sure they get a gauge of where the car in front is braking, and leave themselves a bit of a gap to be able to react. If you're not sure where the car in front is braking, you can pull out to the side, you can just sit a bit further back and let off the gas early, and then come onto the brakes later once you see where they've broken, and then you log that into your memory banks for the next lap, and you're able to take advantage if they are braking early. The last thing you want to do is put it there from behind like that, if that is indeed what happened, because they're out the race and you've got a penalty coming your way.
Indeed. Wide curb, AstroTurf, gone is Brett Bradbury. But it's a minor spin in relation to some of the other, in comparison to some of the other incidents we've already seen tonight. So he was able to pull that out of harm's way and keep on going. Hayden Short 10th place at the moment. Gomez, Snadden, Anastakis, Yarwood, then Khan the top 5. And we've been going a little over 11 and a quarter minutes. the Interlargos circuit. So everything's done, essentially, drive so Brett Bradbury for the incident under yellow with Paul Wood. There's a drive-through coming Bradbury's way, so he's not just gone from bad to worse. I was going to say, I would imagine anyone that's looking to empty the tank, Adam Lavis, would be just going a little inch or two longer, a few minutes longer than the expected, anticipated fuel window this time round, by virtue of the fact that we did 2 laps at significantly slower speed, and therefore we've chewed a bit of time out of the clock, and therefore there's probably 1 racing lap less. So the strategy game is going to be very, very interesting from here on.
Might stretch it 10 minutes. Ooh, it's going to be close. They might have to still fuel save a little bit to be able to do it on one stop, but it might be possible if they're on the ball. But being that it's still burning fuel on the safety car, it's not a full 10-minute save, so it still might be a little bit out of reach. So there might be a really quick splash and dash, unless the guys play the other game where they just shorten the other fuel stop and spread the load over the 2 stops.
So 12 3/4 minutes gone. Paul Wood sitting there in... actually, no, my apologies. Who have we picked up there? Joe Baldwin, of course, and he's in behind Fred Kahn and Neil Gladwin. Tucker's running Woodsy and Nick. Woodsy and Gary Cousins synonymous colours, of course.
So I don't think Woodsy's got around doing a black one yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think he's only done red and blue.
Yep. I was going to say, it's just proving, because obviously the other colour there is yellow that was so synonymous with when it comes to the Bailey Ladder status. So, no, very nicely done. Baldwin having a smooth run so far, up 4 spots into 6th place. Top 5 haven't moved just yet. 1:32.369. Parry and Astarkis, the fastest on the racetrack right now. 10-second penalty coming the way of Dale Sharp, rather unfortunately. Now, hang on. Sharp is down there in 18th place in the merge. So they'll be post-race acquired penalties. Adam Lavis is going to have some very, very big work to do with regards to applying the penalties to the results and updating the points matrix according to that. So far, we've had a few retirements. Heaney's gone. Heaney's not gone, but he's a lap down. So too is Baguardi. Adam Johnson is still in pit lane and has been for a little while. But it looks like his night could well be about to go from bad to worse, because he's on pit road for the 2nd time. Grant Gill, we know, is out. So there's already 4 contenders definitively out of the race. I wouldn't imagine that Marty Mitchell's going to factor in the equation from there, given that he's half a lap back and yet to stop. So too Brett Bradbury with that drive-through. That's the only reason he's come to pit lane. Now Mitchell comes in as well. So ever so gradually, Liam Banks, they're rubbing out quite a few potential top 10 contenders and race-winning contenders as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to call this one particularly, because that gap at the front of the field has come down. It was 1.5 seconds, and at one point Gomez was putting in lap times 4-5 faster than 2 cars behind it, but they've really closed that gap. So it's just under a second from Snadden to Gomez, was down to 3/4 of a second. Perry and Astarkis at one point was within 3/4 of a second, and Snadden, so the 3 of them were within 1.5 seconds at one point, and then Yarwood's right behind them. Khan, Baldwin are both within 3/10 of each other, and then the first gap of any sort of note is actually down at with Aiden Schultz in 10th. That's a 3.5 second gap up to Bradley Curtin. Every gap up in the top 10 is below 2.5 seconds, and that can be made very, very quickly around this track. So the whole field almost running line astern at this point still. A few little battle packs forming, but I feel close enough that any driver could get on the march and really cut through and make big gains, because they won't have to work hard to catch up to the next car once they get past one.
Right on board at the moment, a 4-way fight for 3rd place in the race. You've got Harry and Astarkis just about a second away from William Yarwood, and Yarwood under the pump from Khan and Baldwin here. Good stuff. It's relentless and fierce.
see the body language of Fred Kahn's car. They're using all of the road and a bit more. Really going from side to side behind the back of Joe Baldwin, who's just keeping everything nice and calm, driving a bit defensively. You would definitely back at this point Kahn having a little bit more speed than Baldwin, but can he use it to actually affect an overtake, or is he going to do just move around behind him and not actually be able to find enough of a delta to make something stick? Turn 1 is going to be the best opportunity on this track after you get that nice little straight, but the power of the BMW might make that half of the Ferrari. He's closing in. He's actually not sitting behind him right now. Yeah, he is. He gets into the slipstream. Is he going to make a dive down into turn 1, or is he going to sit behind? He's going to sit behind, deciding to bide his time. He'll try and get a better run through turn 2, and that will send him up into turn 4, because this bit will be flat out. He does get a good run out of 2. Sits right behind William Yarwood. Really well set up. Does Yarwood go onto the fence? No, he sticks to his racing line. Car's going to pull to the inside. 2 going through 2 wide through turn 4. They managed to make it through just about, and Yarwood manages to hold the place and will stay ahead of Carl for now. And then I'll drive
Have
through.
a look at this.
Traffic
Up the
already.
outside, yeah, lap traffic playing its part. But thankfully, those guys get through unimpeded. Anastakis buys a little bit of breathing space. Yarwood's under the pump from Kahn. Kahn's got Baldwin for company. And then, of course, go back to Gladwin and Takaloo. Curtin's got back to 9th place. A lot of drivers that last time around notching up PBs for the race thus far. We're 18 minutes into the feature now, and the reality of the situation is we have not seen the top 14 head to pit lane as yet. That is expected, given the 2-lap safety car period, which chewed up 5.5 minutes of the race clock. And we have seen quite a few winners and losers, movers and shakers out of this. At least 3, possibly 4 drivers in double digits. Greg Spencer up 10 spots. Eduardo Zamora up 11. Aiden Schultz up 13. Ryan Wooden up 10 spots. So big movers thus far. But the intensity of these battles, Liam, pressure's a funny thing in motor racing. Will we see someone crack at some point here? The more pressure applied, the stronger the defense has to become, the stronger the attack will become. But as a result of that, pressure's a funny thing. We might see the pressure become too much for one of these drivers.
We absolutely will see the pressure become too much for one of these drivers. It's hard to explain if you haven't been sim racing just what it does to your body when you actually get into a tight battle like this, either on attack or defense. For me, it's defense where I get really hectic up. Sometimes it's on attack where you start to get hot. You start putting more force into everything because the adrenaline's coursing through you. You don't realize that all of a sudden you might catch the brake. Not so much in these cars because they've got anti-lock brakes, but you might catch the brakes because you're suddenly putting more pressure on the brake pedal. Your inputs can become a bit less smooth. You're a bit jittery just because you've got so much adrenaline that you're starting to shake a little bit. It gets really difficult, and when you've got pressure like that, it is very hard to keep it smooth and steady, which is what most cars prefer. They don't like big erratic movements. They like you to be precise with your inputs, and it's much easier to do that when you are staying cool behind the wheel. So if you are someone that can remain calm, it's a huge advantage, but there'll be many drivers that feel they can't do that, and that is a very, shall we call that optimistic? Is saying optimistic a little bit too kind there? Definitely not deserving space. There was trying to set himself up for the inside. Did get a much better run, to be fair. But yeah, smart thing to do would have been to just come out of the throttle and give up that overrun. It's easy to say that when you're up here in the commentary box. Really hard to do in the moment because you want to get the overtake done.
Spoken as a true racer, Liam Banks. Well done.
You want to get the overtake done, right? You see they got the overspeed. Yes, I've got an overspeed. They made a mistake. I need to capitalise on it. The last thing you want to do is come out of the throttle. And I've certainly been in an instance like that doing the same thing, but it's what you got to do in that scenario because you're just not entitled to the space.
Riding on board with Eduardo Zamora here at the moment, mates, and he's chasing Ryan Wooden and also Sean Benici. So you've got a McLaren up against a Merc and a BMW at the moment. We're on lap 12, and we're inside 39 minutes to go. So third race distance gone, and we're edging ever closer. So that first round of pit stops, not a true reflection of the green flag fuel mileage here because of those 2 coursing laps, but some of the tricks of the trade with regards to fuel saving have been thrown out the door by iRacing in recent months. It'll be interesting to see when we speak to these guys post-race what they were able to do to save the juice during that caution period and how different it is to the old days of clutch. Down the main straight. William Yarwood in 4th place at the moment, trying to defend Fred Kahn and unable to do so. Kahn goes through on the inside and moves up into P4. Yarwood's about to get hung out to dry there. Here comes Baldwin down the inside and the door firmly closed in his face.
So Freddie Kahn, he's teammates with Greg Heaney and only joined the club today. So brand new, fresh, off the conveyor belt member.
Excellent. That's what we like to see. A good steady stream of drivers on a conveyor belt joining the club.
Yeah, I got home today and it was 3 brand new sign-ups. I was like, well, look out. I better get them done.
Crack the champagne. No, it's great that it keeps going from straight to thing. It's great to see, and it's not surprising to see 3 drivers joining the club during the season, because I think the offering this season has been absolutely superb. I think every new series has pretty much been a hit, has it not?
Adam, you're probably in a better position to answer that than me, because you're more immersively involved in the inner sanctum of the club.
Oh yeah, been very good racing. I think the problem, this is only a theory of mine, but with the quality of series we put on this season, I think Thursdays struggle just because everyone wants to race every night but can't, and Thursday seems to be one that people have put aside for this season. So it's unfortunate because every series seems to be a popular series this season.
Nothing wrong with popularity, but at the same point as well, here we go, side by side. Dale Sharp forcing the issue there to go into P13. He has got an invoice to pay later in the piece, courtesy of race control, but right now he's lucky 13. The elbows are out, the gloves are off, down the main straight we go. You mentioned good numbers across the board. Still relatively good considering all the different extenuating circumstances that we didn't have to deal with at the height of COVID, like real world life, real world jobs, real world business, family, holidays, all that sort of stuff. It takes us away from home, takes us away from the sim rigs. So for people to still be turning up and finding time to participate, some 2, 3, 4 nights a week, marvellous 2023 season drawing to a close here, no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. A big shout out to all those drivers that do compete on multiple days in the week. I know from first-hand experience how hard it is to find even one day a week to consistently go racing. So it takes a lot of commitment to find 2, 3, some of the drivers even 4 or 5 days a week to go racing consistently and actually be able to race the cars to a decent level. It's one thing to be able to rock up, go racing with a tiny bit of practice. But some of these drivers, they'll put in deliberate practice before the race with multiple cars during a week, and that is a commitment which is absolutely astounding, and just shows how competitive it is within sim racing. It's, some people don't give it its dues, but it's a very real form of racing. It's certainly very real for those drivers that take part of it in it, and it's very real for Dane Snadden right now as he hunts down Mark Gomez. The gap down below half a second. It's been under a second for quite a few laps now, and it's been edging towards getting closer and closer and closer. Haven't seen Dane Snadden launch a move yet. We've got to feel 25 minutes into this race, Snadden's really starting to hit his stride, and he'll be making a move down at least either the left or right hand side of Mark Gomez pretty soon, unless Gomez can get his shoulders out, get his arms waving, and make that track very, very, very narrow for Dane Snadden.
Something that rises to come out of the right-hander there as well. Have a look at it. Magnificent day in Brazil. All of them will be until we get the rain server. Yes, it's still a work in progress, a year and a half on. Slowest launch in iRacing history, I'd imagine. I reckon, given what we know about the Kiwis and our friends across the years, I reckon they need to launch the rain server in line with Pukekohe. Whenever they drop Pukekohe into the server, that's when they need to drop the rain.
I can't wait for there to be a glitch and every race is wet.
Gary Cousins. Just down the road from me, actually, at the moment. I'm in Cessnock, in Newcastle, Ohio, and he's in Maitland. Very nicely done. Lovely part of the world. So, There's a rivalry there between Chestnut and Maitland and Curry, ladies and gentlemen. If there was to be early, you understand. 33.5 minutes to go. Still no pit stops from the top end of the tree. From Gomez right down to Sean Benex in 11th.
Who designed the rear view camera in the Porsche? Why would they put it in a spot where the rear wing's blocking up the screen?
Well, to be fair,
although it should be on the back of the car a bit more, but even there's a lot of my rear view cameras at the wing in it because it's in the road. But, that's not too bad. But as an actual driver camera, that's just a bit of an overthought.
So, to be fair, Porsche have been using the same design since their inception, so they're not going to change it for a rear view mirror. That's why I still do Porsches there. Anyway, we've got Gary Cousins here, still on board with him. He's in 14th spot, started in 7th, so it's not been a great race for him so far. However, the mitigating circumstances, he has made a pit stop. Pit in lap 2, was one of the drivers caught up in those incidents. He's right behind Dale Sharp and Paul Wood, who have also pitted, and they are the front three of those that pitted. And we were speculating earlier that those who pitted on lap 2 behind that safety car might just be able to get to the end of the race on one stop. So if they can, they're in not a bad position. If they do need to stop from here, then it's looking less good for them. And we've now been joined in the box by Daniel Saar. Daniel, how are you going?
Not bad, Liam. How is everyone?
Well, I was going to say, you'd probably be... you're here a little bit early, if memory serves. Don't you race on a Monday night?
I was supposed to, but I had a previous engagement today, which meant I couldn't make my Pro Series race.
That makes a lot more sense, because I was going to say, if you're here this early and you were racing, it doesn't sound like it's been a good night at the office. But if you didn't start, then yeah, no, that's all good and well, mate. Nice to have you on board. Start of the second half of the season, and of course, someone that we can lean upon for some expert insight into just what these cars do, how they move and shake and wheel and deal, because you are normally out there every other week. I was talking to Liam earlier about the dynamic of the top split being BMW and Ferrari, and tonight in the AM split, despite the presence of McLaren, Mercedes and Porsche in the top half dozen, is having a very similar vibe to it with regards to the presence of Ferraris. 5 of them and 2 Benners in the top 7.
Yeah, I'm not too well versed into what it is that makes the different makes and models fast on tracks and whatnot. But overall, Smart Gomez gets a bait there into the pit lane. The 296 rather is incredibly fast. Doesn't matter where. So that it's no surprise that that's up there. It can be very temperamental on the back end, but if you can find a setup and tune it in, you'll get really good results with it regardless. And the BMW has just been a staple every single season. It's like old reliable. So if you can, if you're used to it and you just keep at it, I'm sure, you can be pretty rapid in one. The one that I'm most surprised by, honestly, is that the Porsches aren't higher up. I really thought the Porsches would be up there. They're usually stronger at Interlargos, but...
Pit stops unfolding, gentlemen. So Dane Snadden came in at the end of lap 17. We got the top 6 ahead of him pressing on, but right now pit lane congested with race cars. You got Jermaine Tackle, Neil Gladwin, also Bradley Curtin, Ryan Wood, and Sean Van der Meulen, and Greg Spencer, and Tristan Koch, all on pit road.
Yeah, it's interesting the point you make about the Porsches, because of course Jermaine Tackle, he's our championship leader, and he's not having the night he would have been hoping for so far, down in 15th spot. Okay, having just made his pit stop, but he was not in that fight with Gomez, Khan, and Snadden. So he's not as strong. Do you have a theory as to why that might be?
No. Again, I thought the Porsche would be stronger here. The only car I haven't driven out of the current GT3 field is the McLaren, and people give it a pretty bad rap. I don't know if that's BOP related or whatnot. I haven't driven it, so I'm not sure what its handling characteristics are like. But looking at that leaderboard there, it doesn't surprise me that the Ferrari's really strong. But the big one, yes, I really thought the Porsche would be stronger. The Mercedes is really weird. It's such a flip of a coin. It's like, I don't know, it's heavy, and people seem like some people can really get it to navigate well, and then when there's like a high-speed circuit with lots of straights, it seems to do really well. And then in the corners, it's just an absolute tank. So the middle part of Interlargos would be terrible for the Mercedes, so that doesn't surprise me at all. As Paul Wood down the inside, or is that Dane Snadden? Sorry, just getting past
Dane
Paul
Snadden
Wood.
down on the inside of Paul Wood. So now it's Ferrari, BMW, Ferrari top three, and Mark Gomez running that bench-like numbers here, going further into the stint than anybody. Last one to close the field when he comes to pit road, probably this time by 32.25 minutes gone. Geez, they're going to be cutting it fine, Adam Lavis. Can they? Can Gomez get home from here? It would sound as though it would appear as though everybody else is going to have an extra invoice to pay. But Gomez comes to pit late at the end of 19.
It's still going to be tight. I think, like, you have to save. I think full throttle the cars is on about 22 to 24.5 minutes in that sort of window. So 27.5 might be a bit of a stretch, but we'll see how he goes.
Right on board with Paul Wood, and here the Ferrari at work here, ladies and gentlemen. The pick of the bunch in the GT3 fold at the moment. Ferrari's dominating both top and bottom split on Monday Night Motorsport. The newest car in the serve, and it sounds an absolute treat. Let's go on board for a lap with Paul Wood.
Yeah, Paul Wood, who, if this time the screens are correct and Luke Yard, is going to be in second place with their field friends. Mark Gomez dropping from first to third, and the first round of stops have been completed, and Dane Snadden managing to pull off the undercut. Like I said, we don't know if anyone's going to make it home. It's going to be Gomez. But for now...
Well, actually, if Woodsy can get another lap out of this, because he put it under safety car, he might be good to the end. So this might be a genuine spot for Woodsy here.
Yeah, Paul Wood, the previous GT3 Pro-Am chap, who knows what it's like to race at the front of this field, and he's going to be doing it again if our calculations are correct, expecting to hit at the end of this lap or the next. But either way, he's looking good to get to the end with only one more pit stop, and that will be this pit stop. What might hurt him is he's going to be in traffic after he's pitted.
And he's looking for redemption because he felt like he had a potential win on the cards last week, and he had those couple of spins, so he's looking to get a good result tonight.
See the Ferrari behind him, Mark Gomez really closing in there. Expecting to make a move at the first corner. If Wood doesn't hit. And he pits, there we go. Find out answer, 25 minutes to go, Paul Wood's going to pit. So, by that logic, 25 minutes on one tank will get him to the end, and I think we've already seen cars doing that. So I do believe Paul Wood will be able to get to the end on this stop. So wherever he goes now, he'll be way down where he's going to finish, because everyone else ahead of him is likely to stop again.
There's 25 minutes with the safety car though, so it's still going to be a little bit, Woodsy's going to need to save a little bit of juice, but it's doable.
Dale Sharp, another driver in the pit. Dale Sharp driving one of those Mercedes you described the characteristics of so colourfully earlier on. Daniel Saar, and doing a good job on it. He was up 11 spots before he pitted. Of course, that was because he was running out of sync a little bit, but he is one of those that was caught up in the earlier incident, so this seems to be a good recovery drive for Dale Sharp in the Sharp IT entry.
Yeah, one of the few who rep the... Oh, sorry, my mistake. I'm used to seeing Dale Sharp in a BMW.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both.
He's in a Mercedes. Oh, fair enough.
A change for this season.
I wonder if he's thinking...
here, boys. Van der Meulen. Uh-oh. Rear end goes. So turn 14. Bang!
Oh, no.
The Porsche was late on site and didn't see the cars grinding to a halt, and he's just gone punt, shunt, bang. Everyone walks away with a little bit of whiplash.
And that's unfortunate. Very, very characteristic trait of that Ferrari. It is very easy to lose that rear end. Most people will Obviously, this is an enduro round, so tire wear does come into it. You do have to think about that. But most people will come in out of a corner, and cars like the GT3 will bait you because you've got TC. Now, obviously, your fastest setting is 0, because then the engine won't cut out any sort of intense throttle, but you're more prone to spin. So you want to find that balance of what is the lowest TC that I can get away with, but I can use the throttle at 100% more often. And some people get baited by the TC setting. And as your tires start to wear and you come into those corners, you'll put your foot down and that car will just be like, nope. And you'll spin right around. It was an unfortunate one there for him, just parking right on that racing line, and then seemed like it was going to get avoided. And then whoever it was that just came up the rear end didn't pay attention. And unfortunate damage or at least whoever it was in the middle there lost their rear bumper.
Yeah, and I do wonder if the car arriving late on the scene will get a penalty. We've seen the stewards not taking any prisoners when it comes to drivers not slowing down on the yellow flags, and the evidence would suggest that they did not slow down sufficiently to avoid whatever incident was going to come their way. We've seen Brett Bradbury in the pink Porsche.
It looks
You
like
know what that is?
that looks like a single screen situation.
Yeah, you know, that's exactly right, Adam. I was just about to say that. That is someone who looks at the apex of the corner and not the exit of the corner. Because by the time you were turning in that car, you definitely should have seen the BMW ahead. And so, yeah, that's unfortunately... if I had to guess, I would say, yeah, that's someone that's looking at the apex the entire way through the corner rather than the exit. So that's unfortunate there, as race control will deal that. It's car 65, so Brett Bradbury will get a 5-second penalty for contact with Mitchell.
Yeah, and I think that's fair, because we did see harsher penalties being handed out earlier on, but that was a much bigger incident. Yellow flags were out for a lot longer before they arrived on the scene. Brett Bradbury there did actually arrive on the scene a lot earlier than I thought he did. He was already sort of committed to the corner, well, was starting to break from the corner by the time that the incident in front occurred. So you can imagine a scenario, like you said, where he's on a single stream, he's focused on the apex, doesn't realise quite what's happening. So I think 5 seconds is probably the right balance between wanting to punish someone who didn't slow down sufficiently under yellows, but not completely ruin the race, because whilst they could have done something, you can understand how they missed it, given how quick they were on the scene.
Speaking of incidents like that, though, Zach, you would have, I'm
Yeah,
sure
mate.
you would have come across this. Race 26 at the Gold Coast on Sunday. That flick turn by Golding
Yes.
at the first chicane. What was that? Talk about
Well, actually, sorry, no. Let me just pull you blokes up before this goes any further and gets completely out of control. I am aware of the incident. I haven't seen it. I am aware of Scott Pye exchanging bars with Craig Baird online at the moment, but haven't read too much of it, only because I was attending the big ticket item at Australian Motorsport over the weekend,
that's
boys.
right.
I was
yes.
over in WA. Down there. So Nationals, there's a spin! Poor boy. Off the road is Tristan Koch. He'll rejoin, but that's a costly mistake. He's lost quite a chunk of time there.
We said earlier, who's gonna thrive under the pressure, who's gonna crack, and sometimes it's not going to be the pressure, it's just going to be the duration of the race. Concentrating for hour to the limit of your ability is hard for any human to do, particularly if you're not someone that does it on a regular basis. And with the way we change the length of the race throughout this calendar, some of these drivers have been much more comfortable with the sprint race format, with those 20-minute races, as compared to the 1 hour or even the 90-minute enduros that we have in this series. So I expect over the next 20 minutes we're going to see some drivers getting fatigued, and we're going to see a few more incidents like that, regardless of whether they're finding or not, just as the level of concentration takes its toll. And also the knowledge of how fast you can go and be in your 99% confidence range that you're going to make it round without crashing. The more you push, the faster you go, but you raise that probability that you're going to make a mistake, and some drivers just won't understand themselves well enough to know where that level is. I very much count myself in that category. And they will have a spin or two just because of a longer race, and with a longer race and spending more time at that level means they're more likely to crash and perhaps they can get away with it in sprint racing. But if they don't adjust for a 60-minute race, they're going to get caught out.
It was interesting last week. It was only a 60-minute race as well. Oh no, it was a 90-minute race. Sorry, 90-minute race during last week.
Yep.
But and then normally we found usually when we do our 2 endurers of the year, it's normally once we hit that 60-minute mark, that's when people start making mistakes because they're so used to being the 1 hours with the regular race. But last week it was after 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So we're actually getting fatigued a bit earlier than normal.
That's right.
Possibly because of that big heat wave that came through. Some of the guys might be a bit hot and sticky, but yeah, it was interesting that there was a few guys that were having those fatigue issues a bit earlier than normal.
Hey, Parry and Osaka still running strong in 4th place at the moment, and 1:32.369 the benchmark, the fastest by the race set by the great man. What I want to tackle there, going off the back of what Adam Lavis was saying, is our timing screen is showing quite a few 2s in the pit completed column at the moment, boys. We can't really read too much into that because of the way in which this race is played out and so many cars required to come to pit lane during the safety car period to top up the tank and complete a fast repair. So it'll be interesting to see when this next flurry of pit stops commences, because it can't be too far away now. We are in the final third of the race. We've got 7.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, there's a few storylines to unravel there. What is interesting is out front, Dane Snadden and Mark Gomez have been absolutely blitzing the field. They've got 15.8 seconds on Joe Baldwin now. It was very close at the end of the first stops. They have just sprinted away from the rest of the field, running largely in the 1:32s, where the rest of the field is in the 1:33s or 34s, putting on an absolute clinic and really turning it into a 2-horse race for the win tonight. And what we don't know is, can Snadden get to the end? Can Gomez get to the end? We suspect Gomez is in a better position than Snadden to get to the end, but Snadden's been at the top of this championship for a few seasons now, so he's a wily character. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve, I would imagine, and he's not going to want to let a victory get away from him just because of those pesky fuel limitations. So we'll see what he can do to reach the end of the race, or if he can just push flat out and maybe make it another stop work for him. But right now he's got Gomez bearing down on him every single lap, and I wonder if Gomez will sit behind Snadden here and use that to extend his stint length, just save a bit of fuel rather than going for the overtake.
Looking at the pit time and also the pit entry for both of these cars, Dane Snadden came in at the end of lap 17 with a pit time of 18.8 seconds, and Mark Gomez came in at lap 19 with 19.5. So there might be tyres included in that, but based on time alone, Mark Gomez has more fuel. So if he wants to, he could really... Whoa, that's a big shunt.
Huge shunt.
What happened there?
Aiden Schultz. And he said only about an hour ago how much he detests the circuit.
Well, that was an incident on the straight. So either he's been touched or he's had a hardware malfunction.
Interesting one there. So if my thought process makes sense, Mark Gomez should have more fuel in his car than that BMW. So it's in Mark Gomez's best interest to put as much pressure on Dane Snadden as possible so that he can't feel safe. I don't know, like you said, Dane might be able to make it to the end. I'm not sure. But Mark should put as much pressure as possible to either A, force a mistake, or B, if Dane was looking at a fuel safe strategy, he'll have to abort it, because otherwise he'll get jumped. So it should be, regardless, it should be a pretty spicy battle between these two all the way to the end.
Yeah,
So-
What?
What?
Hang on.
I don't even understand. Oh,
Oh,
hang
he
on.
hit the wall on exit.
Down the main straight.
Oh, that?
Highway failure.
Must
I'd
be.
say the hardware failure,
Yeah.
because it's just slowly, gradually dragged him out to the right-hand barrier, then snatched him back into the left and pirouetted back into the right.
Yeah, he's just
Pinball.
Magnussen that
Yeah.
straight into the wall.
So we pick up Dane Snadden, leading the race at the moment. Snadden has taken the lead away from Mark Gomez. Gomez follows in close pursuit, but Gomez stopped 2 laps later. So Gomez is ahead in the greater scheme of things because he'll be taking less juice. Next time down pit lane, you would suspect here. But Snadden flying the flag in a Ferrari-dominated top 10 for BMW. In fact, for all the other manufacturers. 5 in the top 10. A sole Ranger for the Mercedes in the form of Bradley Curtin. A sole Porsche in the form of Joe Tackler. A sole McLaren through Sean Benici. But then, of course, you've got the 5 Ferrari strong attack of Gomez, Baldwin having a good run in 3rd, and Starkis 4th, Gladwin in 6th, and Wood in 8th, and of course Dane Snadden and William Yard with the 2 BMWs. Great to see old mate William Yard was running in the top 5 at the moment. Let's hope he can stay there. It was a night that started with a little bit of argy-bargy and a little bit of destruction derby-like action, but we've got a good race on our hands here. Slowly easing into the final 5th of it now. 12 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Well, the rough thing here for Dane Snadden as well is back markers. So they're coming up to him pretty heavy now. If you have a look at that track map, they've still got a good 12 minutes. Well, that's one way to get out of the way, I suppose, yeah. But they'll have to be paying attention to that real close. Try and not get pulled up because, each back mark that they approach is just another hand in, or another ace, I should say, in Mark Gomez's hand.
I think poor Fred Carnes had an in-air drop out. Oh, what's going on here?
Oh!
Uh-oh.
Carnage in that corner.
So Dane Snadden and Mark Gomez continue to lead the way. Joe Baldwin 3rd, Pariana Starkis is 4th. No other battles in the top 10 except Jermaine Takalou and Sean Benici. And this is what happened to Adam Johnson. Uh-oh. Ouch. That will hurt. Oh! And Snadden did well to avoid that. So too Gomez. That could have been a race-changing, race-defining moment for that pair. But they were alert to it and took action accordingly.
I suppose there is a bonus being sat in 3rd place 17 seconds off the lead, is that if something like that happens to the leaders and they're a few inches further left, you've got plenty of time to actually avoid the incident, which by the time you get across it. Those two didn't have much warning, but they both did really well to avoid it, and that just shows you, even at the front, even in the midst of such an intense battle, both had the presence of mind to actually take avoiding action, and it was good of Mark Gomez. He could have really tried to take advantage of that, but instead was sensible and didn't do anything that would jeopardize his race or by proxy Dane Snadden's by doing something a little bit silly. So that was good heads-up driving from the two of them, seeing Pariana Starkis being one of the first to blink and take that second pit stop. But he's had tremendous pace all night, definitely someone that is pushing to the limit rather than fuel saving. And he's been 5 spots from where he started, but I expect the likes of Yarwood, Gladwin, Curtin, some of those drivers are going to need to pit, and that's when Pariana Starkis shoot back up the order.
And Woodsy's one of those people where we're not sure Woodsy might be able to make it, so he could be the dark horse. I mean,
certainly could. He is one of the drivers to keep an eye on. We're just keeping an eye on now. And Mark Gomez, he's definitely staying behind deliberately. He must be. Look how close he is behind Dane Snadden, and he's not even having a sniff. He's keeping it very calm, almost letting Dane Snadden know, look, I'm not going to try and overtake you. Don't slow us, step both down defending. Let's just drive to our maximum capability. And I'm sure a little bit later on, they'll get the gloves out, take the gloves off, and do battle for real. What's happened to Harry here? As I said, Daniel, it's a trait of the Ferraris, and that's not the first Ferrari we've seen do that, particularly at the start or at the end of a stint.
So the Ferraris now have a similar trait to the Porsches, don't they? They're slowly but surely becoming problematic. I mean, the Porsches, they lose the rear end, and I'm talking about the Cup cars in GT3 on a Thursday night, more so than I am the GT3s that we're seeing here. Now the Ferrari GT3s are becoming difficult to control as well. And on the subject, we're about to have a full house of the GSRC broadcast team here, ladies and gentlemen. We just need Chapo and Gilly to come in and finish it off. Schultzy, well, at least the form guide read true, mate. You said you didn't like this circuit. What happened, please?
Mate, ran out of talent, to be honest. No, in all honesty, my headset was going flat. I was in the top
Okay.
10 and come in to do my pit stop. And for some reason, iRacing did iRacing things and didn't fill me up. So I had to back up, and that put me right back. And then my headset was going flat, and that's why you saw me go into the wall down the main straight. I'm trying to plug in my headset, and then I'm like, yeah, no, night's done. That's all you got. That's all you get for $1.
Well, that's true. Okay, so it was distracted at the wheel, was it? Is that the reason we're
100%.
putting down on paper? Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're going to roll with that anyway. Yeah, we're going to do
no. How about that? Well,
that. No, but it was a good night, though. It was a good night, though,
You made good progress early, mate. So you avoided all the carnage.
Yeah, well, there was some carnage on that
Someone had
one,
to.
wasn't there? There was definitely carnage. When I looked up and saw I was in P10 on that restart, I'm like, how did I get here? So, yeah, definitely avoided that. But it was some good racing. I reckon I had a top 10 there, but I didn't. So, it is what it is, mate.
It is indeed. Let's have another look at what happened earlier in the piece and watch it from your onboard. And just watch the weaving and zigging and zagging and the good luck and fortune. There!
I wouldn't say that's good luck and fortune. I would say, well, it's definitely
the gap, the hole was just big enough, mate.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh boy.
It was crazy, but I shouldn't have been starting down there anyway. Like I said, I had no practice after coming out of the supercars, and I was excited to be in the top 10. I thought I had a good top 10 car, but hey, is what it is.
Thanks, he's just jumped out of the boots for the moment. Daniel Correa-Sar and Aidan Schultz, your Wednesday night team, jumping in on a Monday night. Daniel because he wasn't in the race, and Aidan because he's parked up early. So we've got the A team and the A+ team here on a Monday night, and you can be the judge as to who's who, ladies and gentlemen. And you've got a combination. You got the combination because you got the Thursday night team in here as well, albeit I'm off again this Thursday night and back to the final 4 weeks of the campaign. Looking forward to it immensely. Gentlemen, I might pick your brain now just before pit lane gets very busy again about what we can look forward to on Wednesday night when the GT4s go around and also the Downforce Ledger.
Well, Daniel, I don't need to put words in your mouth, mate, but if we see anything like it is tonight in the GT3s, it's going to be a good night at the office in the GT4s. Unfortunately, in the GT3s tonight, there were some major incidents earlier which made them bring out the safety car. So hopefully we don't see that in the GT4s, but it's a track that does create good racing. So looking forward to the GT4s. Radicals, obviously, we've seen some great racing there as well, Daniel. So yeah, looking forward to what we've got to bring to you on Wednesday night.
Yeah, the Fuji doesn't give
Fuji for
GT4s.
1 hour.
Yeah, Fuji does not give the GT4s a choice. That sharp chicane in the later half in the last sector will force good racing. It catches people out like crazy. So yeah, I expect there to be some chaos. It'd be nice if it's all clean and up to scratch, but Fuji's that course really tests you.
Yeah, and the GT4s, mate, sorry to cut in there, Zach. The GT4s are a lot lower horsepower as well, so it's going to be a different style of racing in the GTs. So we're looking forward to bringing that to everyone from Fuji. So lower horsepower, it's going to be very close, draft affected, and all that type of stuff. So we'll see how we go.
Banksy's back with us at the moment as well, but Adam Lavis, I want to bring you in. You'd remember the last time GT4s ran that long on a weeknight. I mean, it'd be back in the days where they were combined with GT3, wouldn't it?
Pretty much. So it's going to be our first 1 hour enduro in the GT4s. So should be a good night. Get some strategy happening, some pit stops, and around a fast-flowing, hard-on-tyre track like Fuji should be interesting. So we're seeing a lot of these guys who put on lap 17 are pitting now. So that's not looking good for the guys who put on lap 18. And Dave Snadden was one of the 17, so he might be in next lap possibly. He is. He's in now.
There we go. So, shots fired. critical point of the race. Dane Snadden on pit road. This could be one of those race-defining moments with regards to him and the battle with Mark Gomez. How critical is this next in-lap for Gomez? And with only 2 laps to go, is Gomez trying to stretch this out? 2 laps to go next time by the line.
That's the thing, it's next time by, and Gomez pitted 2 laps later than Snadden, so is he 1 lap short?
That's right.
Being behind Snadden.
Has he used Snadden to his advantage? We'll wait and see. All right. Aidan Schultz, Daniel Correa-Sar and Liam Banks here with us as well. Banksy, some big movers and shakers tonight, but most of the damage done on that front in the early laps, and the rate of attrition fairly high. I mean, down, obviously, Schultz is retired, so to Adam Johnson, Bagladi, Ragwani, Eduardo Zamora and Grant Gill.
Yeah, and you can really see what we're talking about, where the fatigue started to hit in. You got no retirements from lap 32 to lap 18. Then you've got 1 lap 18, 1 lap 15, 2 on lap 8, 1 lap 8. With 18 laps to go, 15 laps to go, 2 with 8 laps to go, 1 with 2 laps to go, 2 with 1 lap to go to the current lap. So you can really see that level of attrition is increasing as we get later into the race, as they start trying to make desperate moves, as the tyres are going at the end of the stint, as they're trying to figure out their fuel numbers, whether they can get to the end or not, and as they're getting hot, tired and bothered, as the level of mistakes that they've made during the race creeps up and they start to get maybe a bit frustrated with themselves, the mind might start to wonder, think about what could have been, or think about how good a race they're having and really desperately wanted to keep a hold of their position. And we're going to see a couple more before the end of this race, even though there's only 2 laps remaining by the Zaculators reckoning. Van der Meulen is now in the pits, and Joe is in the pits as well. Gomez, the lone soul out front.
He had an 18-second lead on Woodsy, so it's going to be close when he comes out.
White flag in the NX time by, boys. Here comes Joe. Now, will Gomez try to get this thing home? 17.7 seconds the advantage at the moment. So he's got time to play with. Even if he does have to cough and splutter or slow things right down, he has got a buffer. Can he get it done? Only time will tell. Gary Cousins in 12th place at the moment. And remember, there's a lot riding on this, because normally in recent past, any GSRC broadcast prediction, the race winner is blown up in flames. So Liam Banks could potentially, if Gomez coughs and splutters here, ride Dane Snadden to the checkered flag.
Well, the thing is, though, he's probably got just enough time to do a stop here. He's actually going for it.
He's going for it. White flag in the air, 1 to go from Interlargos.
Well, the thing
We're into the final minute of play.
One thing he does have in his favour is he's got 17 seconds of slowdown that he can use. He can just absolutely cruise around this lap, take his foot off the throttle on the downhill section, do what it needs to do, just get it round.
The other thing he's got in his favour, which I only just noticed, he's running the centre helmet.
Yes.
He's just going to channel the energy from the track.
For this part of the world.
Someone needs some juice.
Barney, a bit out of fuel.
It's gone. And that's the story. It's going to be a fuel race. Parry and Aristarchus off the road as well.
Same thing.
Parry's off the road. 10th place now for Parry. Oh, what might have been for the legend.
Sean Bonici in on the last lap.
Yep. As soon as we got the safety car on lap 1, and as soon as it eked out as much clock time as it did, race time as it did, you sensed that was going to be the narrative of the closing installments of this race, the closing seconds, the closing minutes. A fuel race. Do you or don't you? Can you cough and splutter across the line, or are you going to fall short? Agonisingly short. Unfortunately, 1, 2, 3 pit stops in the last 2 laps that I can see on the screen here. But at the front of the field, Gomez comes to town, cleans up in Brazil, and does it in a canter. 15 seconds to the good. Ferrari on top on a Monday night. Great strategy play. I reckon, unfortunately, Dane Snadden has been used as leverage. And he'll know that too. But a great result for the Bimmer in second. And Joe Trucker Baldwin in a fight for third with Paul Wood, the two teammates. Have a look at this. This is for the final spot of the podium. Ferrari 3 and 4, Bailey Ladders 3 and 4. Joe Baldwin onto the podium. We know how much he's detested GT3 racing in the past. Maybe this car will change his mind. Paul Wood 4th and William Yarwood, the old experienced hand of Australian karting, finally has a good run on a broadcast race and rounds out the top 5. What about that? Very nicely done.
How good was that from Wilbur? Top 5. That's really good to see from Will.
100%, mate. It was funny. I caught up with him in June at the Ipswich Kart Club, and he says to me, I see you're having a laugh at my expense when I'm in the GT4s and the GT3s. No, I'm not laughing at you, mate. I'm laughing with you. Unfortunately, I can sense the frustration. I know how hard a season it's been. But he's there for fun, and he's finally getting to grips with it, which is terrific to see. That wasn't ideal for Tristan Koch on the last lap, and it's done and done. Great racing. I think it was the top 12 that got home on the lead lap. James Francone down the road a little bit. The first of those a lap down according to the timing screen there in 13th place. So Gomez, Snowden, Baldwin, Wood and Yarwood, BMW and Ferrari lock out the top 5. Are you sure we're not watching pro? And then Dale Sharp and Bradley Curtin got 2 Mercs in the top 10. Great result for Dale Sharp. And Neil Gladwin, Parry and Astakis. A couple of these guys helped by late race incidents, late race fatigue and attrition, a couple of spins, a couple of fuel dramas. Parry got back to 9th, Sean Benici 10th, then the first of the Porsches outside with Gary Cousins and Jermaine Takalou. Those 12 home on the league lap, everybody else. A case of what might have been a cause of frustration tonight for so many, especially anyone caught up in that lap 1 incident. Even though the safety car brought them back to the field, they were hamstrung for the balance of the night. They are worthy celebrations for Dane Snudden. That's a great result for him.
Still happy with the second place there, so good on him.
Expression session if ever there was one, and rightly so, he should be happy with that. That's a terrific result. Perseverance pays off. Persistence pays off. Thoughts on all of that, boys? I'll start with Banksy and we'll work up to Daniel and Aiden here. Obviously, Schultz would have loved to have actually finished the thing. But anyway, I'll get your thoughts more broadly on GT3M in just a moment, Schultz. But Liam and Daniel, what do you make of the night?
Yeah, it was a shame that the race started off as it did with all that chaos. What it did do is it gave some drivers like Greg Spencer, who was up 17 spots, the chance to really make some moves, and Paul Wood, probably the person who made the most of it, going up 12 spots to be in 4th and coming very, very close to the podium as we saw him finishing behind his stablemate, Joe Baldwin. But after that, the racing calmed down a lot. The racing was a lot cleaner, a lot better. Only a few drivers retiring after that, most of them really late in the piece. So the standard of driving really improved after that first incident. I think everybody understood that it was on them to improve the racing, and we were given the treat that we thought Interlargos would be. And it was really nice to see the safety car, which is very rare in a GSRC broadcast, and I think Daniel's chuckling because he's seen this for the first time. Safety car on a GSRC broadcast, which really made the tactical battle very, very interesting. It put us right on the edge of being able to get there on one stop, and it was Mark Gomez who absolutely nailed it. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the race. Kept us guessing the whole way through.
If we go to you, Daniel, it's been a while since we've seen a safety car deployment on a Monday night. It did spice things up.
It did. I'm just wondering, Adam, if you'd be so kind to replay that incident. But if you could please replay that incident from Grant Gill's perspective. Because if you want to talk about absolute rotten luck, that is the prime example. If I'm correct, I saw Grant Gill try to avoid an incident and be blocked the entire way to the wall.
Yep, and then got thrown out of the server by the stupidity of the matrix in place by iRacing. Have a look at this, ladies.
Just look at this. Look, he's like, I'll just go wide. I'll avoid it. I'll go wide. Oh, no, there's no gap there. I'll keep going wide. Okay, oh yeah, no worries. That is ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh.
If Grant didn't have bad luck tonight, he would have had none at bloody all.
Yeah, that's
Then
crazy.
he tried to limp the thing back to the lane, and iRacing disqualify him for driving dangerously or whatever their stupid excuse was.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, this is the thing. In real world motorsport, that'd be a safety car or a red flag, and there'd be recovery trucks everywhere. I'm not a huge fan of the automatic escape to pit lane tow rope procedure. I've made that clear in the past because, again, that takes away from the realism of it. We talk about how real it is, and that takes away from it. And Grant was just trying to limp it back under his own steam rather than, going the default way and seeking assistance. And they'd boot him out. Like, it just lacks logic. But it's not the first time I've been up the rent for iRacing or at iRacing because of circumstances like that. Anyway, on to something more peaceful and life-affirming. Maybe not necessarily, though, for Greg Heaney, unfortunately. That was a rather frustrating night, and we just saw why, mate. Talk us through it from your angle.
Avoiding a spinning car and getting poleaxed is probably what I'd say. Look, it is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of Interlargos, but hey, at least I made the end. And again, I ran myself short on fuel, even sitting in the pit lane for 3 minutes under caution.
Well, that's exactly right. You managed to get home in, I think it was 22nd in the end. Sure, you were a lap down, but you got home, and that's the main thing. In saying that, it is one of those sorts of nights that heads towards drop round territory, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, that works for me. That works for me. So
now, so you're not a fan of Interlargos. I mean, obviously, apart from the incident tonight, any other particular reason why?
Oh, I'm just not terribly fast at it. From all the laps I've done, I'm just not that quick around here. But yeah, not 100% sure why. I think it's just too tight and twisty. I'm not a huge fan. So.
Well, and that being said, it is tight and twisty in the middle component, but the first and third sectors are particularly open throttle and rather fast. From a personal standpoint, I love the circuit. I think it throws up great action, but unfortunately, there were so many people on the same boat as you tonight because that incident just screams pinball effect to me.
Oh, very much so. Like, I'd already got into the pit lane, and then it was a case of wait 15 seconds and caution gets thrown. And then obviously the way that iRacing works is, you're in the pit lane, you're
stuck.
Yeah, your time in the pit lane is now doubled. So,
and again, we come back to the idiosyncrasies of it and some of the little subtle nuances and glitches within the system. It's not foolproof. It's not perfect. We've highlighted that on multiple occasions in the past. That is, again, unfortunate. The fact that you get penalised for still being in the race, albeit having safely got to where you need to go, and they waive the caution. Something to be said about maybe letting you back out to join the queue and then, what do they call it? Wave around. So yeah, again, compromised in two ways, mate. So the fact that you hung in there and stuck with it and persevered and saw it through to the checkered flag is a testament to you. Talk me through what happens next, please.
Onwards and upwards for Fuji. I'm very much a fan of Fuji. So
as are we all. Let's have a look at the schedule for the rest of the season. In fact, there was a question mark next to me being here next week, but I actually am because I've decided to go back to Ipswich after the Melbourne Cup rather than before, and any extra day I can have in Progressive Civilization, I'll take it, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it was rather lovely to be over on the West Coast over the weekend, where the time difference made a lot more bloody sense, and I'll get to Joe Baldwin on that in just a moment. In the meantime, Circuit de Lebanon is actually next, and then Fuji. So you're there or thereabouts. We've got Fuji. We've got Watkins Glen Boot, which I think will be an absolute corker of a round, and then, of course, on to Mount Panorama Bathurst to finish it off over 90 minutes. Lebanon's the unknown of the series, isn't it, mate? The new venue, one that very few of us have heard of, very few of us know about. So it's going to bring with it its own unique challenges next Monday night.
Yeah, very much so. Thankfully, I've got an extra long weekend this weekend, so I think I'll be putting some laps down, that's for sure.
Silly me, I'm just having a look on my my phone here, scrolling through and clearing things, and I just realised the alarm's still set for 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. No thanks, we'll turn that one off. And we continue on. How do you enjoy the challenges that come with new tracks, Greg? Are you one of those people that takes sort of like a duck to water, or does it take a little bit of time to get your head around them, and then how do you go about then attacking car setup and everything else associated with it?
Oh, look, I'll probably grab a setup from my teammate who unfortunately dropped out tonight. He had an anti-cheat thing crop up that was an odd one, and managed to force him out of the race. He was running up in the top 3 or 4, I think. I'll grab a VRS one from him, or I'll grab a Craig's one from myself, and then just turn some laps and see how it feels. And if it's the case I need to adjust it, I'll adjust it to make it a little bit more comfortable.
For sure. Very nice tonight. Congratulations on the season thus far. Unfortunately, a little bit of a blip in the road tonight, but we're looking forward to hopefully smooth sailing for the next 4 weeks. Thanks for stopping by.
No worries.
From Greg Heaney, let's press on and see who else we've got here to talk to. What a cracker of a scrap between Paul Wood and Joe Baldwin. I think we'll bring both of them in at this point in time. In fact, I'm having a look here and I just realised there's no one else to bring in. It's just those two, and then we're done, because the other 4 blokes have been here from the start pretty much. There is someone about to join us from the broadcast green room from the pro split. His name is Jared Knight. We'll get to him in just a moment. So yes, we will extend a little bit further, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Lavis, any particular curfew for you, please? Okay, cool. That's all right. No, it's fine. Well, it's not going to be as late as last week, because my eyes are going to close any tick of the clock here. It's been a long 4 or 5 days. Joe Baldwin, on the subject of long days, big one for you yesterday, the 3-hour trip to Wanneroo from Bunbury and back again. A, nice to see you out there at the circuit. We'll get to that in a moment. B, as I said at the end of the call there, you have normally had a disdain for GT3 racing, but there's something about this Ferrari and you, my friend, on the podium tonight. Well done.
Yeah, look, it was probably helped out a little bit by the unfortunate incident with Braden losing the handle down there at turn 3 or 4 or whatever it's called. But I managed to dodge through that. I got snicked on the left rear corner, which gave me a 4X. But other than that, I was probably one of the luckiest ones. I think I was nearly the last car to get through that unscathed. But it actually set up. I said to Woodsy, and he'll confirm here with you in a minute, but I said to him and Gaz, I said, look, make the most of it. Go in on the second lap, fill up, because I reckon there's going to be a splash and dash at the end. And I was right, because I had to go in and only take like 3 litres of fuel, or I wasn't going to make it home. I needed 1 lap's worth of fuel. I did save, so I probably would have needed 2 lap if I hadn't have saved. But yeah, it set the tone, and then I'm not sure, a couple of the guys after the first pit stop just seemed to lose a bit of pace, and I sort of managed to maintain what I was doing. So it's probably the best result I think I've ever had in the GT3. So yeah, I certainly got a smile for that one. It was a good race.
There it was, and what a way to finish it off. No team orders there. You and Woodsy leaving nothing on the table.
No, that's right. I said to him when I come out of the pits, he's like, "Oh, hi Joe." As we're going, I'm like, "How much fuel you got left?" And he's like, "Oh," and he only had like 200 mil less than what I had, and I thought, "Oh, okay, well, he's going to make it." And I said to him, I've got enough fuel now, so you've got enough fuel." So it was, head down, bum up to the line. But we were just lucky enough. We had enough of a gap there. And the tyres, like I didn't take tyres in the stop. Mine were down to 45% across the nose at the end of it. And I think the tyre model with the GT3 now is really good. If you push it too hard, it'll start understeering and it gets greasy. But if you back off the pace a little bit, the front came back to the Ferrari during the race. And I think Paul will agree, he had a similar thing. So it was sort of had to manage the pace. I had nothing for the 2 guys up front, Dane and Mark Gomez, but it was certainly a good night anyway.
they pushed each other hammer and tong until Dane had to surrender to a splash and dash like most of you. Of course, Mark was able to do it on one stop, and that proved to be to his advantage in the winner's circle tonight. Let me come back to you, Joe, in just a moment. I'll talk to you about Mountain Men next week. And we'll also talk about the fact that those two were in a particularly different postcode, no doubt about that. To you, Paul Wood, welcome in. Well done. What a great performance tonight, quite frankly. Again, just a quiet achiever. You and Joe both beneficiaries of the early garbage. And, of course, misfortune for a few towards the end with spins or a fuel shortage, trying to stretch it a little bit too thin and getting resulted ending up parked on the side of the road. Excuse my poor sentence structure at this time of the night. But 12 places gained, mate. It's almost as though we're going back to the future. The old Woodsies arrived back in town.
Yeah, the old Bailey's Ferrari was a real handful and a headache this evening. It was not agreeing with me at all. I was struggling from the beginning, but yeah, overall not too bad. I got caught up in all that ruckus in the beginning. I actually dropped down to like 23rd or 24th position at one point. I had to go in and pit to get some repairs because the car was not driving. It didn't sound real healthy, but I just come out and it was a little bit after that, Joe, and I started checking my fuel and that, and I thought I was right on. A full tank of fuel could have got me there, so I did a little bit of fuel saving, just lifting in a couple of spots, which was enough, and I ended up with getting enough fuel to make it to the end. So that was what gained me a lot of the spots later on in the race. But overall, hard race, and I didn't get a lot of chance to do all up in qualifying because of for some reason my pedals are playing up at the moment and the clutch wants to drag. So I was trying to do some repairs while trying to do a setup as well as get a qualifying in. And yeah, so by the time I got to the race, I was already working up quite a sweat. So I just thought, I'll head down, bum up, and take whatever I can get. And yeah, in the end, it ended up coming to me. So I'll take it, and we'll move on and see how we go next week.
How frustrating is it when those tech gremlins creep in just as you're getting ready for the night ahead? Because that ends up making your time poor, I'd imagine.
Oh, it's very frustrating. I'm not sure what there's something with my clutch. It's happened about 2 weeks ago. It just something is making it drag, and I cannot figure out what it is. I've cleaned them all, I've reinstalled them, I've done everything, and I can't figure it out. It just seems to phantomly come up, and so I end up having to actually completely unbind it this evening and get rid of it to try and work my way around it. So I'll take the next couple of days to see if I can try and get on top of that again. But yeah, it's most frustrating, and especially when it comes to race time, and I'm trying to just get my head into the right space, especially coming off from a V8 into this thing. It's a completely different style of driving. So yeah, I need all the time I can get. But yeah, again, I just go in there, deal with what I got, and go forth and see what I can get.
And judging by what we just saw on screen there, Woodsy, not the only time you had to avoid carnage tonight. Obviously, we saw the opening right kerfuffle, and you and Joe got lucky there. And then, of course, they're trying to park in front of you going into the hairpin in the middle of the circuit.
Yeah, there was a few there, but luckily with most, I was just trying to keep a wide berth. With a lot of just because there's a lot of guys, well, I think just getting caught out by some of the corners, especially with the new time model, that bit understeer and then a snap oversteer, and yeah, just got to keep your head on a swivel and keep the car. Luckily, I think I was going a little bit slower tonight, so that helped a little bit. I wasn't coming at things with great hurtling pace, so I managed to see it and slow down. And yeah, one little incident under the yellow flag. I ran up the back of Gazzy because I was too busy trying to work out pit stops and that sort of stuff, and I was looking down at my pit black box, and yeah, then Gazzy goes stop, and I just got on the brakes and nudged him under that, so I got a safety point for that. But other than that, yeah, I managed to avoid most things after that. So yeah, kept it clean and just got a lot off tracks, got close to getting a drive through. I think I had 2 incident points left, but yeah, after that I just slowed it down again, kept it clean, and hoped I had enough fuel, which I did. And so overall, considering how the night started, I think it was a pretty good finish.
The other thing there as well is you mentioned a safety point penalty. Which do you prefer? Because at the end of the day, safety points are a bit like demerit points. If you burn the candle, you cop a suspension. But at the same time, I feel as though in this situation, that's probably better than, say, a 5 or a 10 seconder, which would have affected your race result.
Yeah, look, in that instance there, it was sort of a no harm, no foul. The car was damaged anyway, so I wasn't driving the best, and it was literally I just bumped him forward when we're in a straight line, so it wasn't a huge drama in that sort of thing. It was more the fact that there was contact. That I took my eyes off the road for a second, which is a good safety message there. You shouldn't take your eyes off the road. Ran up the back of him, so it's fair enough. It's granted. I don't think it was warranted. A drive through or anything like that. If I'd actually spun him off the track, different story. But it was sort of just a bump, pushed him forward, and away we went. So there didn't appear to be any real damage to his car and that sort of thing. So we pushed on. So yes, in that regard, I'm thankful it wasn't a time penalty, but I think the safety point was justified.
Woodsy, you've just broached on a topic that we've already discussed at length with one of our commentary colleagues tonight. Don't take your eyes off the road, Aiden Schultz.
Yes, it's a very, very good thing to keep in mind, both in real world and in sim racing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Schultz was fiddling with something.
I'm here. I just didn't want to segue into that. I was trying to put my headset back in, so...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm devastated. I had a top 10 there or a top 5, but it is what it is. I didn't expect my headset to go flat halfway through and it's like beeping in my ear, but it was good racing by all the boys tonight. It was really, really good job.
For everyone at home, the moral of the story is use wired equipment.
Yeah, correct.
or just charge your headset, maybe.
That too, but you've been a bit time poor this weekend, Schultz. We'll forgive that. However, in saying that, can I just let you gentlemen know, because this is, me being typical old school and not being too sure of the ins and outs of it. Obviously, when you turn your phone into flight mode, certain things turn off. I'm not sure if you're allowed to turn Bluetooth back on. So for that reason, I went and brought a brand new bloody USB-C plugged bloody headphone set for the flight over to Perth. And what do I see on the way back? The bloke sitting next to me that resembled a human canvas, I might add. He doesn't know me from the bar, so if I can get away with saying that. He's sitting there with his Bluetooth pods in, having a merry old time. And I was like, probably just wasted some Telstra plus points there, but that's not to worry. They'll come in convenient at some point, I'm sure. Hey, since they're here, boys, before I get back to Joe and we go to Jared Knight, anything for the Bailey Ladders, boys, before we let Woodsy go? I want to hold on to Joe a little bit longer and have a chat about a few other things.
Nothing with me.
Woodsy, you're off the hook, son.
No worries.
I left the door open for them. No one's taken the bait, so...
They'll just curse me under their breath, that's all.
On the way out, though, the last question from me is your thoughts on Circuit de Lebanon next week, the new French venue.
Oh, after tonight, with the way the car handled around here, if I don't get a chance to put some time into it, I think it's going to be a real handful. I'm not expecting a lot.
Yep.
It should be a fun circuit, but it just the Ferrari at the moment for me is just not driving the way I want it to. But I'll see how I go. I'll give it my best as usual and see what come away. So I should make for an interesting race. But yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting too much, but we'll see where we are this time next week.
When you say should be a fun circuit, am I to assume that you haven't turned wheels in anger around there yet?
I have in something, and I can't think of what it was.
All right.
Aston Martin GT1, I think, and that wasn't a very successful race either. So I'll let you know where I'm at the end of next week.
Very nicely done, mate. We appreciate you stopping on by. As always, go well for the rest of the week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Let's go to Jared Knight. Hey, nice to catch up with you again, Knighty. On the subject of real-world experience, we've caught up in Orange recently. That chat is on the Four Straight Karting Association of New South Wales Facebook page for anyone that hasn't yet had a look at it, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, with Russ Green in tow as well. There are the results from GT3 Pro tonight as we go to 90. He's finished a respectable fourth in behind. No slouches there. In fact, have a look at the top heavy, top five there. Dench, Mitchum, Cox, Knight, Hewitt. All big names. So too Woods, Martin. David Johnson, the old former El Presidente, going up strongly there, nicely at 8. Nick Wood and Paul Rogers making up the top 10. Rightio, 90, talk me through that, because once again, Dench is the benchmark, putting on a clinic about 7 seconds to the good on Mitchum, Cox and you. 60 minutes around Interlargos. Did we manage to avoid carnage there?
No, the P4 doesn't tell the whole story. I was actually
I thought that might be the case.
yeah, I was actually facing the wrong way. Yeah, the exit of turn 4 on lap 1. So P4 from basically the back of the grid on lap 1 is I'll definitely take that.
And not a bad fight back on that note, but obviously when you have an incident like that, we know how well you race, we know how well you charge, but it would have been a full send, chasing your tail for the rest of the night to try and salvage that result. Just talk us through how challenging that was.
Yeah, Interlargos it's a bit of a circuit where you can sort of get away with a fair amount of fuel saving actually. So I thought during practice I had probably podium pace, so I just started to save a bucket load of fuel, and I think got a lap or two on some of the guys in front, and still maintained some decent pace, and then the last 2 stints were basically a push from there, and then it was a nice battle. I was behind Wayne and I believe Chapo coming into the last few laps, and unfortunately Chapo and Wayne tagged going through turn 3, and I was the beneficiary, and didn't look back.
Put it into context for me now, mate, what that 4th result does with regards to the championship and how it sets you up for the next 4 weeks, please.
Oh, I'm not too sure what it does for the championship, but next week will be a bit of an unknown. Yeah, haven't even bought the circuit yet, so don't even know what it looks like. So we'll have to see how that goes. I think it'll be a fair amount of practice during the week.
No further questions on that note from me, Your Honour. What about anyone else on the floor here? Aiden, Daniel, Liam, anyone want to fire a question at 90 while we've got him? Because obviously Dench is off doing Dench things. He'll probably wrap up the championship again in week 9. There's going to be a tantalising race for the minor placing stuff.
Yeah, well, 90, I'll jump in really quickly. I've done some broadcasting commentary with you in the Porsche, mate. A little bit different tonight in the GT3, not just the Porsches alone. Unfortunate to see you facing in the wrong direction early doors in the early part of the race, rather. Mate, GT3 here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, a little bit different to what I'm used to seeing you do in the Porsches when I used to commentate the Blendline TV stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is, Aiden, but it's I guess it's nice to still be at the pointy end in both leagues. It's a bit of a shame that that other league sort of fell apart, because that was that wasn't a bad little league, but GT3s are a completely different beast. As you can see on Thursday nights, I still haven't got a handle of them this season. It's a bit hit and miss in the 992 nowadays.
Well, I have to also tell you too, I was working down doing sims at the Gold Coast 500 on the weekend, and I ran into Colby Cohen and met all the boys from the Blendline thing that we broadcast on InterSim, man. So met about 5 of them, so it was really good to put a face to a name.
Yeah, I actually wasn't. I only became aware that they were up there just a bit earlier this afternoon. So yeah, that would have been a nice little get together and reminisce some old times. Yeah,
it was good. Although Colby didn't beat my time, so that I'm gonna just leave that there. But yeah, mate, good job tonight, mate. Good to see you in the GSRC in the GTs, mate. Good to see you going well, and good to talk to you again. Looking forward to hopefully chatting to you next week.
Yeah, cheers, Schultzy.
Hey, Nighty, I'm not sure the Gold Coast has anything on 4-stroke endurance karting at the Orange Kart Club about 8 days ago, please.
For about 5.5 hours it didn't, and then it all fell apart as you were very observant. And,
fell apart being the operative word, yes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They don't go on 3 wheels apparently, ladies and gentlemen. It was great to catch up with you, and it was actually very nicely done from Russ actually to point me out at the start of the day and introduce himself and point out where you were parked. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have got down there. So No, very nicely done. We wish you well the four-stroke karting stuff when it gets up and away again in 2024. Lebanon's going to be interesting. The two circuits to finish us off, though, fast character-building circuits in Watkins Glen and Mount Panorama and Fuji in the middle. How do we feel about Fuji?
I actually won the GSRC endurance race in the Beamer at Fuji a couple of seasons back. So yeah, decent memories going back to Fuji. So, but
watch out for Nighty.
Hopefully the Beamer's a little more matched up to the Fez, because it's just a bit too far up the road at the moment, that Ferrari.
Now, one thing I will say here as well, ladies and gentlemen, is that when we get to the end of the season, we go back to where we started as far as grand finals are concerned for the GSRC, for the GT3 Championship. And that will be Mount Panorama. It won't be 2 hours, it'll be 90 minutes. But that'll hark back to the days of old for those of you that have been with us since season 1. So do stick around for that. But we've got a bit of continent hopping to do before then. 4 different continents in 4 weeks. In fact, 5 and 5 to round up the championship. South America tonight, Europe next week, then Asia, then North America, then Australia. It's going to be a tantalising one home to the checkered flag in the GSRC Waste Options GT3 series. When are the Pro Boys next on broadcast, please, Adam Lavers? Is it next week?
Yeah, next week we've got the sprint round. So
we've got the sprint round.
so we've got the Pro Boys in race 2.
Very nicely done. All right, Nighty, is there anything from you, Liam Banks, for Jared before we let him go?
Just good luck with the rest of the season, mate. Do you reckon what's the best bet for beating Denchi in one of the races? Do you think it is Fuji?
Oh, I reckon it's somebody turning him. It would
No,
help.
remember.
Apart from that, no, not really. I think he's just a class above. He'll wrap it up very as early as he can. I don't think he's really lost a race yet. So
keep in mind that Denchi probably won't run Fuji. He doesn't like it.
That's right.
This is true. It might just leave it open for the rest of us. So it might have to really get the practice in and try and capitalise on that one.
That being said, I reckon Denchi will be able to afford a drop round by that point. Good on you, Nighty. I'm going to let you go on that note, mate. Thank you. Great to catch up, both in person and, of course, on Discord here. Go well for the rest of the campaign. We look forward to seeing your race next week.
Yeah, cheers, Zach. Thanks, guys.
And before that, good luck on Thursday, because I'm not here on Thursday night, but I know that you're persevering, albeit through frustration with that Porsche at the moment.
Yeah, persevering is probably the exact word.
Or the polite word, the word that we're allowed to use.
Yeah, the word, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dear. Very nicely done. All right, mate. Go well. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, let's go back to where we started, and that is to our good mate Trucker Joe. You got a taste of the old back at Wanneroo for the first time in quite a while yesterday, Trucker. I mean, obviously you got the best seat in the house watching the Hyundai Excels. I'm led to believe that our media centre is actually technically meant to be soundproof. I don't think there was anything soundproof about it yesterday, but it was great to see. What did you make of what you saw throughout the course of the 3 hours or so that you were there?
Hey, look, I'll tell you now, everybody out in the car park heard the commentary for it because we left the door open. So there's no two ways that anybody missed your commentary, okay? It was great fun. Right. No, look, it's the atmosphere there at the track was actually amazing. Like, everybody in through the pits was very welcoming. And, I mean, I haven't been at Barbagallo since '99 for the supercar race there. But club level racing in real life for that sort of stuff, I was thoroughly impressed. It's if I was a younger man and had a budget, I'd probably go and give it a crack in a Hyundai Excel. Those things were unbelievable racing for a car that, I think I said to you yesterday, how many uni car parks were filled up with those cars over the past 15 years, and here they are now putting on some of the best racing in the country. It's fantastic.
And I can reveal to everybody tonight, we mentioned during the broadcast yesterday that the expressions of interest had encroached 3 figures. We were at 98. We're now at 102 expressions of interest for the 2024 Dunlop Destiny Series, the Hyundai XL National Series. It's going to launch as part of the Shannon Speed Series next year. It's hugely excited about. That's mouthwatering stuff, and I hope to be a part of it. Certainly after calling the last 2 nationals, both won by the Victorian Ethan Grigg-Dott. Congratulations to him. And of course, you got to have a chat with a few of the locals and a few of the Hyundai XL races whilst I was off doing some work stuff as well, Joe, because at the end of the day, I was there to tick the box and pay the bills. And I found, like, I thought it was quite incredible because I only had 3-day head start on you. Just how welcoming, with open arms, the entire paddock was there throughout the course of the weekend. Didn't know them from a bar of soap on Thursday. We're chatting to them like they were best friends on Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. It's that's what I was saying. Like it was very welcoming. We went up through the historic car pit, and I'd actually mentioned to Zach that when I was 17, I had a Datsun 1600, and there was 2 of them in the field there of the NC class. And one of the guys there, he took me over his car and showed me what he'd done to it, and yeah, I was just, it was like being a kid again going over that. Was and they're not that far removed from what you drive on the street actually, and the pace they can get on the track's quite incredible. Even the Hyundais, like those guys in the pits there, I think one of the young fellas there was having a bit of trouble with his car. He spun in practice, and somehow I got roped into being a mechanic for him for 20 minutes, helping him change the struts in the back of it. So it's it was fantastic atmosphere. So if anyone's thinking about getting involved, even in a like a committee level or going waving the flags, I'm sure everybody would be more than welcoming. So it was good fun.
And more than that, I'll let everybody in on this. I had a couple of friends there at the circuit yesterday. Trucker was one of them, and it just so happened that one of Dad's good mates, former highway patrol cop in this part of the world, was actually also over there with some mates in the Formula Ford paddock. One of their connections was wrapping up the state championship over there yesterday. So well done on that. But I had both of you actually tuning into the XL, the first XL race of the day, from right behind where I was broadcasting from. So you got a bird's eye insight into, yes, it's just as loud in person as what it is when I'm broadcasting on the platforms of the GSRC.
It certainly is, and this is a man, people, that's known Zach since he was about 4 or 5 years old, and he said he used to talk that fast at that age as well. So, so talking's never been a bit of an issue for Zach, and great bunch of people, and he was a really good guy too. So
yeah, I was somewhat wondering what you and young Redmond were getting up to with regards to what you were chatting about. Now I know. Very nicely done. Wait till I see him next. Thank you. Now before that, the reason that you came Sunday, not Saturday, talk us through Mountain then, please.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good run this season. We've had, I think, a good mix of cars, even though everybody seemed to whinge about the NASCAR version race we had there a couple of weeks ago with the Arkham Menard. So I thought it was a pretty good race, even though Greg Favell, he showed up and took the candies home with him. It was a bit of a clinic by him, but we've had a lot of guys from outside the club join in as well and come and do a few laps. And I thought we would have got more Saturday night with the Skip Barber, but I think this weekend's probably going to be a bit of a full house. We've got the MX-5, so that's, I think finishing up the front in that one, if we get a good number of cars there, it's probably going to be a bit of a nail-biter on Saturday night. They're an incredibly fun car up around the mountain, and it always puts on good racing with the drafting with the Mazdas, so certainly looking forward to that, and hopefully we can keep a good run going that we've had so far in the championship.
All right, very nicely done. And obviously the what's left on the calendar. Letting on next week, Fuji, Watkins, Bathurst. Everyone loves Bathurst. There's great expectation for that. Watkins can be fraught with danger, usually in the opening few laps. Fuji, we've got mixed views on that across the club spectrum. But what about Lebanon next week? I love it when we throw a new track into the mix. It's the great unknown, and it comes down to two things. The ability to master not just learning the track, but also your setup as well.
Yeah, look, hey, to be honest, I've been running with like the iRacing medium or high downforce. Just I don't have any setups for this car. All I do is put the short gear stack in it and go racing with whether it's high or low downforce or whatever it may be. But Circuit de Lebanon, I think that's probably going to be best raced by a Braille next week. I think I did about 3 laps around there with it when I first bought it, and I went, oh god, geez, that's $15 spent a little bit rough, but we might have to go and do a little bit of practice and see what we can do there next week in the GT3. So, but looking forward to Fuji and Watkins leading GT3 is always a lot of fun. So can't wait to get there as well.
Well, you're most welcome if you decide to throw on the tower with Lebanon to jump in the commentary box and share your insights with us, mate. We'll give you the choice.
I'll bring the Benny Hill theme with me.
Well, I was going to say there were a few Benny Hill theme appropriate moments over the course of the weekend just gone, I'll say. In saying all of that, Trucker, thank you to you and also to young Brock Kelly for coming out and saying g'day on Saturday. Added to the fanfare, the fun of the West Coast experience. We loved every second of it. For those that missed the WA edition of the XL Nationals, go back to their WA XL Cup Facebook page, scroll through. There's plenty of live content there. There's more content coming. And there's a full replay on the platforms of West Bromwich Radio and West Bromwich Sport on the weekend of November 18 and 19. This week for the Mountain Men, Joe, what car are we in, please?
We're in the Mazda MX-5.
Oh, that'll be fun.
This Saturday night, so we might even save the replay of that one if it's a real good one and get you to do a dub on it for us, because I'm expecting it to be a fantastic race. The MX-5, anytime you take it up to the mountain, doesn't matter whether it's a 5-lap race or a 50-lap race with that car, it always puts on a good show.
The only bad thing about it, out of Joe's experience at Wanneroo yesterday, is that we burnt $50 on raffle tickets and didn't come up trump.
Didn't win anything, no.
I did not win a cent. That's okay.
And that was still cheap. It was still cheaper than the lunch.
Yeah. The club Christmas party will benefit from the tickets that were purchased for that raffle, no doubt about that. Good on you, mate. Thank you for that. Anything else from Aidan, Daniel, or Liam before we let Joe go?
No, nothing, mate. All good. Ready to wrap it up here on a Monday night. So,
well, that's my job, Schultzy. It's your job on a Wednesday night, but I appreciate I appreciate the hurry up you're giving me. A message received loud and clear. I've talked too much this last few days. Well done, Joe. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll have the great men stick around for a couple of minutes and have a chat to us off there. Reminding you of where we're at with regards to the championship now, remembering that we're now through week 6. By the end of next week, drop rounds start to be taken into consideration and become part of the equation and thrown into the mix here. Jermaine Tacklew on top and going nicely, 234, 11 points over Paul Wood, who has 9 on Gary Cousins. Top 3 separated by 20, top 4 by 30, top 5 by 34. Dane Snadden, 204 and 200 for Bradley Curtin. Porsche, Ferrari, BMW and Mercedes all in the top 5. Sean Benici just behind Greg Heaney, 6th and 7th. And then James Francone, Dale Sharp and Joe Baldwin making up the top 10. So what's that? That's 257 and 234. That's 77 points covering 1st and 10th. That's not bad. It's even more impressive when you look at where Sean Benici is. That's only 37 points covering the top 7. Plenty to look forward to and plenty to be excited about the final round of Waste Options GT3 AM this season. GT3 Pro. Oh, Denchi doing Denchi things. Have a look at that. Already 96 points to the good. Are we surprised? No, it's a Ferrari 1, 2, 3, and then it's a BMW 4, 5, 6, 7. And Ferrari 8 and 10, and a sole Porsche Soldier in the form of Thomas Martin there in 9th, and the first of the Mercs in 11th in Jake Jackson. They have been the 4 prominent manufacturers in that championship thus far. 409 plays 313 for Simon Cox, 274 for Wayne Hewitt, 250 for Jared, 258 rather for Jared Knight and Nick Wood, 213 for Richard Mitchum, 193 for Sam Chapman, 180 for Matt Distill, Thomas Martin 151 and Daniel Hill 148. So a far greater spread first attempt in that championship. Final thoughts from you, Liam Banks, on the night that was and a driver of the night before we go through and talk about this Sunday?
Yeah, good night's racing, all up. Super 2 race was entertaining as we thought it would be around Zandvoort, and the Interlargos was excellent after that initial chaos. But who doesn't like a bit of chaos and a few good crashes in a motor race? I think it's almost required for a motor race to be a classic. Got to have at least one good crash, and we certainly got that in abundance in the first few minutes of the race tonight. As for driver of the race, I think I'll probably give it to Paul Wood for keeping his nose clean at the beginning of the race, which was easier said than done, and making the most of that to finish in the top 5 and 12 places up from where he started. That's a fantastic result.
And let's have a look ahead to Sunday, mate, because you'll be here in the booth while I'm in the streets of Cessnock for the Postie Bike Grand Prix. Finally, we get to round 3 of the GSRC GT3 Endurance Championship with the hypercars in there as well this time round. It's round 3 of semester 2. It is Road Atlanta. It's going to be a 6 hour, and it gets underway very early Sunday morning for those of us over on the West Coast. For those of us on the East Coast, it's closer to lunchtime. And we saddle up and go around again after a cracker at Road America at the start of this month.
Yeah, I wasn't there for the Road America.
I'm very well aware. I was in your place. Yes.
I heard it was brilliant, and I have to admit that's caught me by surprise. I forgot that was happening this Sunday. But I will be there. I will be in the booth, and I now need to go and find my co-driver and see if we're racing as well.
Juggling commitments on a Sunday. Very nicely done. Hey, in saying all of that, what will follow will be the Nürburgring at the back end of November, and of course the Circuit de la Sarthe on the 17th of December. I won't be here for the 17th because there's a charity car show in Newcastle that I'm attending. But in saying all of that, we have Sunday Motorsport for you this week on the platforms of GSRC, and looking forward to that as well. Let's look ahead to what's coming your way. And there's plenty to look forward to. Tuesday night, Leipzig Racing up and comers, followed by GT1 Civil War. Alton Park, the venue for the up and comers. They are in the Super Sprint format, and they're in the MX-5s tomorrow night. The 35-minute race for the GT1s comes to you from Sandown. That'll be well worth the price of admission. Wednesday night Motorsport, Schultze and Daniel with you. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, one of my personal favourites. That'll be great fun. For the Downforce Legends, first up, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, followed by at 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, the Fuji International Speedway 1 hour round of the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge. Thursday night, I'm disappointed I'm missing this actually, because Willow Springs I reckon will turn on some sensational Formula V racing, but I am away on and looking forward to, I'm away on some R&R after a busy week in Perth, and I'm looking forward to that. It's much needed. It's been a busy few weeks. So Willow Springs Thursday night, Daniel will be with you for that, followed by the Porsches from Mount Panorama Bathurst. Let's hope they get a few more on the grid than what they've been having throughout the course of this season. So 60 minutes there, that's 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Friday night, that North American Open Wheel Series takes on Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway. And that's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 120 laps there. Mountain Men Saturday night, as Joe has already detailed, the Mazda MX-5 for 32 laps. Sunday, the Endurance Championship. That one getting underway at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Or is it 10 p.m.? It says 10 p.m. Does it? That's a late night for anyone that's committing to that. No, it's 10 a.m. We know that. I'm only being facetious. I'm only being cheeky. 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so it's 7 a.m. for anyone committing to it in the West. Good luck to all and sundry taking part in that. And as I said, Chapo and Banksy will be with you there. Monday night, Super 2 V8 back at Motorland Aragon on the outer circuit there. That's the 7:50 Eastern Daylight Time. It's followed by Waste Options at GT3. From circuit to Lebanon, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time, 2 sprint races. So we'll have one from the Pro Split and one from the AM Split. It'll kick off with the AM and finish with the Pro, and we're looking forward to that immensely. Right, we're just about done. GSRCmerch.myshopify.com for any of your merch requirements or necessities or desires. merch.tgsrci.com is where you need to go. And of course, if you want to get involved in everything that we're doing here on the platforms for GSRC, do it via race.tgsrci.com. And we're always pushing the member drive. Come and be part of the fun. You won't be disappointed. It's been a great season thus far. Hard to believe we're halfway through it already, gentlemen.
Yeah, crazy. It's gone really quick. I gotta be when I looked, I was like, oh, what round will be? Maybe like round 3 or 4, and then I looked and it was round 6. I was like, oh, okay. Whoops.
Yep. Exactly. Oh dear. Very nicely done. Hey, very quickly, Daniel Carrier-Sar, thanks for stopping by tonight. Appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you on the grid next Monday night. And Schultzy, better luck next week, son.
Yeah, mate. Hopefully we have a better run next week, but it's all right. That's what it's about. But look forward to bringing the GT4s on Wednesday night with Daniel. So looking forward to that one. It was good racing tonight in the GT3s. Congratulations to all the place getters tonight here on the GSRC streams. And looking forward to bringing the GT4s on Wednesday night, along with the Downforce Legends, the Radicals. So obviously around Canadian Motorsport Park in Canada. That'll be great.
No, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah.
It's the other motorsport
even
park
better.
in Canada.
It'll be even better.
You knew what I was putting down. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the Radicals and then bringing the GT4s. So unfortunate night for me tonight in the GT3s, but that's all right. Be good to be up here in the broadcast booth and to be able to contribute a little bit at the back end of it. But looking forward to the later on the week on Wednesday night. So thank you guys, and it was a good night.
And just before we sign off, our good mate JB Buds joined us from Race Control, mate. So you get the last word. Fairly busy night. They kept you on your toes.
Oh, busy is a bit of an understatement. Yeah. I think I what's the thing? I think I cursed myself in the first one because I told them all that I'd just driven 9 hours from Brisbane back to Sydney after Gold Coast, and told them to take it easy. And I think they took that as no, we're gonna full send everything.
Yeah, I think that was a middle finger statement from there.
Yeah, I definitely think I cursed myself on that one.
And as far as the penalties are concerned, mate, anything untoward tonight? I mean, I did notice a drive-through penalty. I did notice a few safety point penalties and a couple of time penalties as well.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those nights where we had a bunch of different situations, which obviously mean you have to hand out a bunch of different penalties. Yeah, definitely was a different one to get the mind back into race controlling for gents, but you know, we'll see what happens in due course and see if anyone chucks anything extra in.
And what else is on your... Well, obviously, you've enjoyed the Gold Coast. We'll get some catch-up sleep tomorrow, but then we'll see you back in the booth on Thursday night, yes?
Thursday night is a definite.
Race control. Yep.
And then possibly... Oh, I don't think it's broadcasted, but possibly up-and-comers tomorrow night to help Ben out with something else that he's got to do. So, yeah, got another couple of days in the booth, and then back to Sydney Motorsport Park for Race Sydney on Friday.
Yes. Looking forward to that. I'm watching what I can on the telly before I head to the Postie White Grand Prix this weekend. Got asked if I was going down there, said no. There's no commentary work for me, so, you know, what's the point? Anyway, good on you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that. Go well for the rest of the week. Schultzy, Daniel, thank you. Liam Banks, always a pleasure. Nice to have you back on a Monday night.
Pleasure to be back.
Nice to have your company at home as well, Australia. Thanks so much for coming along for the ride. Dench doing Dench things in GT3 Pro. And, of course, we saw Mark Gomez dominating here in GT3 AM. Super 3 dominated in every sense of the word earlier in the piece as well. A rather commanding win for Ford tonight. And, of course, Super 2, there was a hefty margin between first and second as well. So it's been a night for big margins. But the racing has delivered some great entertainment nonetheless. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. From all of us here, we say a very good night to you and look forward to your company again Wednesday when the Downforce Legends go around, as well as the GT4s, and Thursday night for Formula V and Porsche Cup racing as week 6 of term 4, the 4th and final one of the season, continues. It's season 15 on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, and we are far from done yet. On behalf of Daniel Correa, Aidan Schultz, Liam Banks, Adam Lavis, yes, the entire smorgasbord of GSRC broadcasters just about here in the booth tonight. I'm Zach Caven. From all of us to you, thanks for coming along for the ride, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Daniel and Aidan will see you on Wednesday night as week 6 continues. Until then, bye for now.